Oh,
Hooray.
hey everyone on the internets.
Hello!
Oh, we're live. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Oh dear.
just gonna
Oh
wait
yeah,
for
aboard.
the people to channel in. Hopefully my internet won't die out this time, but yeah. Because the Steam announcement went up, we're just gonna wait a few minutes, do a little bit of a pre-show, wait for people to join so they have time to see, so they don't miss out on the updates, obviously. So,
Yeah.
what's everyone been up to then?
You know, wasting the Kickstarter's money. Developing a game.
Are you like wasting it on food?
Yes, right. On
Like,
on surviving. I'm making it day to day.
you're making a restaurant for
Hmm.
your cooking skills.
One of these days, yeah. But not for a long time. Not until I've made my internet millions
Excuse
from
me.
this game.
Meth,
Yes.
what have you been up to?
Uh, well, just preparing for university and all this fun stuff that comes with life. So, not concentrating on women and books and making sure I have laptop and money and I can eat food instead of beans. So many beans. All the time beans.
You take that back. What's wrong with beans?
Nothing. I grew up with beans.
Mhm.
It's the only thing my father taught me how to cook before he died.
Good Lord, that's dark.
Yeah. No, he's not dead.
Not yet.
But if he was, he would have taught you about beans.
He would have taught me about beans. Well, he did taught me about beans anyway, so if that qualifies him for dead. But
Yeah. So other than bean related focus, what's your focus in university, Math? What do you
cognitive
select?
science, getting a little programming, psychology, maybe a little UI development if the school lets me. Kind of want to get into virtual reality and augmented reality as far as that type of development goes. It's just starting.
Nice. So you were extra jealous of Sean's Oculus Rift then.
Psh, I've used the Vive.
Hmm. I've been very interested in that. I'm kind of curious to
What,
see where
what's
that goes.
the, I mean, at the moment, I think the biggest issue would be the screen resolution, because that's
Yeah.
I'd say the biggest problem right now.
Is it really like it's high def at least, right?
Well, it's 1080p, but you've got two giant magnifying glasses on it,
Right.
so you
The-
can really see the pixels.
Yeah.
Well, it's a
The from what I heard of the newer Oculus Rift, that problem's already solved. I think it's more than 1080p, or that it's two 1080p screens, 1080 by 1900.
Oh, they've got two separate.
Yeah. Vive is doing the exact same thing.
Well, I
yeah,
mean,
you hear that? You hear that, Sean? So
well-
the one that you don't have is much better. So you should be happy.
Well, they don't sell it, so
no. I mean, I'll probably wait until the speculated 4K, see what happens there.
Yeah.
well the 4K won't come out before the
Yeah.
consumer version,
You know, probably 2-3 years, or maybe probably longer than that. to
and it'll
make
be two 4K streams. You have to run at 120 hertz. Yay!
Yeah. And even then, it'll be a
Computer will
tiny
die.
4K screen.
Yeah, it'll still take the same amount of whatchamacallit.
But think about it, like you have at that time we'll have like 4K phones, so they'll be about the same size. Well, a little
yeah,
bit
but
bigger.
what hardware is gonna run it?
I don't know. We can have what? I mean,
What does he look like? A scientist?
I mean, Mac. I mean, the
Jesus.
Mac. They have a 4K Mac, so I mean, iPhones could probably be in 4K.
True, but it's gonna be a while before the processor and graphics card get up to that level.
I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. I mean, they can fit. I don't know how they fit tiny little RAM slots in these phones.
They don't.
It's
Oh, yeah, we're up
Goes
from
to-
6 to 54 viewers right now. Just a heads up.
oh yeah, I see
So
that.
if you want to start up, or get me to do it,
Everyone
uh,
type Pepper in the chat. I don't know.
Yeah. Been so far so good. So we're
We
going.
haven't even asked what the viewers are up to.
what are the viewers up to?
Yeah. Hey viewers, what are you guys up to? We're gonna sit here in dead silence until you all answer us.
Okay, let's do it.
What are you up to?
Where do you live?
Type it into the box. I need to know.
What are you wearing?
Just kidding, guys. We do want to know what you're up to, but the show will go on. Yeah, we're waiting to see if we can get a couple more people in.
Oh, look, 68.
Just don't want to start without leaving anybody out.
It's
But
gone up by 10 again.
yeah, you want to do the countdown timer, Sean, or is this just
Oh no, we'd probably just go from the pre-show.
we're past that? we've moved on.
Yeah, people
We've
don't
moved
care.
on from needing a countdown timer. They know when to get here. They
Mhm.
know.
Yeah. The countdown
We got
time's
people
gone.
making toast, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, toast.
Yeah, we got toast. So
Who's making
if I
toast?
combine with the beans, it should be a
Oh,
good
yeah.
combo.
They should make
Mhm.
beans on toast in a can. Then you can
Oh,
just stick it in the microwave.
avocado just said suddenly no audio. Is anyone else getting that? Oh wait, they wouldn't be able to hear me ask that.
Or, yes, Magnus.
Okay,
says it's good on his own.
Mangus says it's good. Avocado, you're just messing up all over the place. Okay, where am I?
So
no.
is this our first podcast with no countdown timer, huh?
Yeah, it is. It's actually a little disappointing now. It's like we've grown up.
Yeah, it's anticlimactic. There's no background music.
Also,
It's-
asking a Twitch chat if the audio is working is probably not the best idea. Because they
Well,
will
you know
probably
what?
lie anyway.
Mm.
It seems good though.
Speaking of which, Swain, why isn't there any audio in the home screen?
Oh, you mean music?
there's no music.
Yeah.
And all the builds I've been sending to Sean, I'm gonna re-enable it for when I send a copy out to all you guys. Like Devin especially needs to be able to play with it. But I disabled it so that I know honestly Sean can just click music off on the menu and turn it off for demo. But I don't know. I just felt like I would just save him the trouble and just disable music. All the rest of like the sound effects and stuff work in the game. It's just music is disabled,
Okay.
which is funny because it's inefficient because all the music is in that build. I just have it so it won't play. So all that file size is for fucking nothing. There goes my sailor's mouth again.
Well, it's okay. I think a few of the people who play this game might be mature enough, or pretend they're mature enough to handle this.
Right, yeah, basically, right. If your mom comes on and catches you on our live stream and wonders why you're listening to this foul-mouthed Swain, then perhaps maybe this game is not for you and you're not our intended audience. As much as we love you and would love you to
And
play our
it would
game.
definitely be your dirty mouth and not the gratuitous amounts of violence and gore in the game.
Right.
Just be your mouth.
Yeah, well, I think that was the South Park movie, right? It was violence is okay so long as you don't swear when you're doing it. Something like that.
Yeah. Oh, that was a great movie.
Mm.
Right. I don't know how many people are watching because it seems to be going up and down dramatically.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, 55. I think it's because a lot of people are like restarting to get the audio going, or who knows.
I don't know.
Also being bored of our toast talk.
Yeah. So I figure what we'll do is I'll actually I'm going to discuss the development of the alpha, since I know that's the big thing. Is when do I, the common player and backer and Kickstarter or PayPal of the game, when do I get to play the alpha that I basically paid for? And obviously everybody knows that the money that has been given to us has gone towards just basic living expenses, enough to pay rent and survive on food, and then do it again the next month. Basically, we are not profiting in any way from this. All of it is going directly to there's no savings account where we like skim a little off and keep it. I think Matt and I have not bought a video game other than like a discounted copy of Hotline Miami recently in the last couple months, and which is bad because yes, on the one hand, we shouldn't be spending our money on games and little pleasures and stuff, but we are making a game. And some of you guys may know what they say about authors who write more than they read. I'll give you a hint. It's that they're not very good authors. So what kind of gamers would we be making a game if we don't even play them? So we do try to keep up to date. But really, everything has been frugality. So effectively, I want to talk about the development of the alpha and a couple of main questions, mostly why isn't it out and when are we getting it? Those are the big ones. So I'll probably address that a couple times today in this session. We're going to probably go for like an hour, maybe more if we have a lot of questions today. But I'm going to bring those questions up again and repeat myself in case we have people trickling in or out. Just in case. I want to make sure nobody misses anything.
Yep.
So we don't have, just to get this off in the right direction, we don't have a hard date for the alpha yet, but potentially, and you can see in the builds right now, Sean is going to the character creation area, where you start with your basic little grunt, you name him something non-profane and non-racist, Sean.
I'm going to ask the chat. I want to know what they think. I did like
But,
the little camera movement there. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's actually supposed to, it happens too quickly, but it's supposed to be focusing on the light above him, and then it kind of sweeps down on him, but because Unity basically there's a delay. I just need to have like a manual delay put in there to wait until the game is fully loaded, then start the camera. So you're missing that little transition, which you only really see in Unity when testing it. So I'll have to go back in for that. Look at you trying to break my name thing. Spell it up. It's not gonna work, son. It's not gonna work. Do your worst.
No, I'm gonna
Yeah,
combine
Fishman.
all these names.
Fishman Lamar.
Fishland Crackpot, that'll do.
There is a letter cap, and we'll figure out if it feels like it's too stringent. But
We'll just throw a few of those in there.
Fish Lamb Crackpot.
Okay, so we have these origins here, which obviously aren't implemented into the game
Yeah.
yet, but is there any...
right now, when you click them, it simply assigns you an just to kind of like indicate which one you've picked. Right now, I believe I've disabled all the inventory items. So whatever you pick for your equipment, that's just what you'll be wearing for this one. In the next build, I'll re-enable the inventory. Of course, there will be a store, which I'm working on this week. Matt, who's not with us right now today, put together a really cool inventory box that in the headquarters, which we won't see today. It's not finished, but he's basically worked on the storeroom where the quartermaster works, including your inventory box where you'll go. It's a huge like ammo drop type chest, like a UN supply crate type thing, just minus the parachute. You'll crack it open, kind of like a Skyrim treasure chest, like you see it crack and then your inventory opens.
Right.
But yeah, for the most part, right now you can you just kind of cycle through origins and pick your outfit. That's just to kind of help you visualize what you're playing. In the game,
So-
of course, you can unequip all the stuff just like normal. Once that's
Do any of these origins yet will have different beginning stats?
yeah, they will. Some of them will have like your max strength or something will be increased, or this or that. Like you'll have stat tweaks. You'll actually have for some origins strange effects. Like
Right.
I believe experiment might be something like fire damage is lessened against you, but but something like you're permanently slowed, like slightly slower, things like that. So you're more of like a tank. But of course, nothing like fixes you in place. But once you pick an origin, unless you imprint, which is our infamy system of like restarting your character, very similar to Payday. We're not going to lie about it. Borderlands has stuff like that. Skyrim definitely has that, like the legendary trees where you restart it. That's how you'll access better origins as well as the legendary skill trees, which I think we're calling them. Let me see. I believe we're calling them apotheosis trees because A, that's madness, and B, that's exactly what that means. Apotheosis, the peak or utmost of something. So that's what we're naming legendary trees. I think that guy's there for practice. By the way, feel free to beat him up.
Okay. I feel... Oh god, he did.
You did the first one with the critical hit. You did fine.
Oh,
critical
I got
hits
him.
are-
I got him. I got him.
Almost. Oh yeah, you got. I'm seeing it on my screen. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's you're delayed from me, obviously.
Now, this is the hub for the arena matches and going from level to level. Will this be restricted to just arena, or will this kind of be the hub for the entire game?
We're pretty certain that this is just going to be for arena. It's important to us. It's not that we couldn't incorporate this, but I think that differentiating it and giving each one of these stages a different feel. Yes, John, I give you a Mac 11. That's all yours.
Yeah. Just
If you,
to...
if you can pick it up, he has trouble finding
Because
it.
I knew someone on the YouTube asked how people would see weapons when they're in lockers, especially
Oh yeah,
if
that's
they're
right.
turned the other way.
Try firing your weapon all the way down to empty and then drop it, and then walk over it. Also, you'll notice that the weapon will always be visible to you if
Oh,
it's
Jesus.
selected.
God,
I don't know. I can't see what you did yet.
I dropped it and it flung across the room. But
Oh.
yeah, so
You- it's still sometimes things that you're. We're about to see it over here.
so when you hover over it, the
Yeah, weapon throwing is back in the game. If you're holding Q, and you left click, you'll throw a weapon. I have all of your skills enabled right now, so you can currently lodge guns, blunt weapons like clubs and that kind of thing. You can lodge them in people's heads. And I enabled the skill lawnmower, which is one of my favorite things in this game. Throwing weapons is a tree within acrobatics, and that will slowly build up, of course, as you build your character. You can choose to become a better weapon thrower. That'll be things like shurikens, throwing knives, like basically stackable throwable weapons that you can just have like a stack of them equipped and launch each one as though it's a piece of ammo from a weapon. Nice and easy.
So when you hover over the weapon that's on the ground,
Yeah.
if it's empty, will it grow red and then green if it's
Yeah, we're
full?
seeing that now.
Yeah, exactly. And you can put more ammo into it by hitting R for reload, which I should have put a button in to make it so you can add infinite ammo, but I disabled it for this just to see how you would do.
Oh, great.
Currently, right now, it glows red if the weapon has no ammo in it, but I want it to glow orange if it has no weapon, no ammo in it, and you also have ammo of that type in your inventory.
I threw it into the wall.
Is it? Well, you can still pick it up, I think, if it's in the
No.
wall.
I threw it too
How
high.
will you display what ammo types you currently have in your inventory? Or will that be on your HUD or simply in your inventory once you actually activate it?
Oh yeah, I see what Sean's talking about now. Sean, you can always restart the stage or quit and come back. You'll always have another Mac 11 in that locker.
That's for cheating. That's cheating.
No, it's not. It's there for you to do. But let me see. So, Sterling, I think that the little weapon thing that we have at the bottom, wherever it is that ends up, that little weapon indicator to show what you currently have equipped. Oh, and don't forget to press I to be invincible, Sean, because you're not.
That's
if you need it.
cheating. You can't do that.
All right.
I
suit
got
yourself.
weapons, alright? I'm gonna prove to you.
They have melee to start because I knew you would probably come in here with nothing. And they're just crappy grunts.
Oh,
At
it's
least
got a gun.
Yeah. So anywho, so down at the bottom where it shows the weapon, you'll see an indicator of how much ammo you have left. It'll probably just be a big number and a bar to show you what's left in the weapon itself. But yeah, you already got jacked up, son. He's hiding under the stairs, where my little guys can't seem to pathfind to him. We're still working on like local pathfinding for objects like that staircase. Also, notice how the ammo pickup works. You see that? Like as you run over a body, you'll get the little sound and pick up something.
Yeah, I saw. I couldn't read what the hell I picked up though.
It just shows the type of ammo and then the amount that you picked up. It's usually not very much, and it's only a little ammo from what they may have had. You never get all of what they had. Not in arena, anyway. So yeah, we'll indicate whatever ammo type a current weapon uses. It'll show what it is as well as the ammo count for it. Each ammo type will probably have an icon as well, so at a glance you can just sort of tell. So
Was that guy doing a somersault right there?
yeah, the engineers dodge now.
Oh, okay.
A lot. And
Now,
the
with
higher
what
the level the guy, the more they'll dodge, of course. If they have the evasive skill trait or behavior trait. Sorry, NPCs no longer just like have the old system of NPCs, the way that they would like their AI would work. Oh yeah, we're getting into some of the new weapons here. You can see the that one dude over there has got that bullpup weapon. Yeah, AI has a new way of approaching. Basically, guys have traits turned on or off. If things are off, they simply won't do it. So if someone's not evasive, they probably won't dodge. Once they do have evasive, they will dodge. And this is important for characters like agents that we've mentioned. They circle around you when they come to approach you. They never run right at you. Unless they have no choice, like down a bottleneck or something. Sean is definitely not running in that hell room. So he's about to beat the zip.
Oh.
No, they got you. So close, and now they're running in place. I'll have to fix that.
Okay.
You won't
So
accept-
getting into what's going to be involved with the alpha, which is currently what you're showing off,
Yeah.
what have you kind of been aiming for as far as what you want out of the gate when we start testing this?
Okay, that is a very good question. So, I think I'll answer that, but then I think maybe after this we'll talk a little bit about, while Sean continues to play, we'll talk a little bit about just the general alpha stuff. But that's a good place to start. So out of the gates, and I also am curious about what people think, and by the way, guys, you didn't know there was going to be a quiz at the end, so I hope you're paying attention. We're going to release very shortly on the Twitter, and we'll link you to the Twitter if you don't have it. It's easy. Oh, did Sean, you get stuck in the door? That's weird.
Nice.
We're gonna we have a little questionnaire that we want everybody to fill out if you can. This is just to get your impressions of how important is the alpha to you, how long have you waited, are you a backer? We kind of want to know how important this has been to you, if anything. And it shouldn't take more than like 60 seconds of your life to just go through it and just submit a couple answers to us. Anything you can do helps. Don't feel obliged, but we would be very interested in seeing what you guys think. So we'll be releasing that on the Twitter very, very soon, before the end of this podcast for sure. Okay, so what do we want in the build so that we can consider the alpha like release ready? Is that what we're talking basically?
Yeah.
Okay. So first and foremost, we want to have we're going to start. Let's talk about the headquarters first. The headquarters, when you start the game, character creation is in. It's nice and simple. You pick your name, you pick your origin, you start the game. Cool. You've named your guy. Oh, and also, Sean, do me a favor. Hold, even though there's no inventory. Yeah, you just did it. I was going to ask you to hold your inventory, and I just see it actually happened. Okay, so the name and all that stuff actually comes up fine. Okay, cool. Now I know. like it shows your origin beneath your character name and all that stuff. You remember some of you guys from some of the developer stuff that the crackpot character was a squad leader. That was his thing. Oh yeah, nice. You see how he tossed the gun into the guy's head, and now he just sort of died with it in there. I love that. I really love that. Yeah, that's the deadly blunt weapon throw skill, which until you have that, they'll just bounce off the guys. Oh yeah, and the lawnmower skill, which I was mentioning but didn't get to finish. Once you have the lawnmower skill, it's a very high-level bladed weapon throwing skill. Once you have it, you basically throw the blade, not like up and over, like somersaulting through the air. What you do instead is you throw it sideways like a helicopter blade, and any guy that it hits, and I kind of showed some pictures on the Tumblr of this, any guy that it hits, if it kills him, it will slash right through him and continue on to the next guy. Like, it doesn't bounce around like a batarang or like Blade's little circular blade. You can get that, though, those kinds of weapons in this game that will heat-seek dudes, but lawnmower specifically is used to chop through guys, dismember them, and just cut them apart and just fly on through. So if you can get guys in a line, you can just like decimate a group of dudes. Particularly effective for just laying out grunts right away. So I really love that skill. And I've done a lot of work this week to try to get skill trees working. And I have just about every skill from the lower tier of each thing pretty much going now. We'll get to skills later.
Someone, I saw someone ask what the corpus thing was in the corner, which...
yeah, corpus is basically your health. I don't know why it's not showing anything for you. I think it's just it's not loading it correctly or something for saved characters. Let me make a note of that. Fix.
I'm invincible, by the way. Just as a
You
side
can eye
note.
for invincible?
I died with 0 corpus respawning, so
Okay.
just as a side note.
This is actually kind of like the old days. I remember originally your corpus never came back when you regen. Remember that?
There they are, I found him. I'm gonna throw it to the guy's face. Oh no, I missed. Get ready.
Is he in there somewhere?
Do-do-do-do.
I just don't see him. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. All right. So first off, looking at what does the game need for the alpha, just the alpha that we want people to play. What do we need for it to be considered complete? And also, Sean, you'll notice you can pull guns out of people when they're stuck in them. I just want to point that out.
Okay.
They're basically mobile weapon racks for you. Once you throw a weapon in there, currently we have it so you can just grab the weapon back out again. There's no extra damage to them for that. Right now it's just sort of like, we don't know whether or not to make that a feature or disable it, but just for right now we left it in to test. So headquarters, once you get in, this is your base of operations. This is where you'll be able to go through and assign your members of, like, basically mercenaries you've hired. You'll see them walking around the base. You'll be able to hire them up for missions. As they come around and as you hire them, you'll be able to like level them up, and they'll get a portion of the experience that you get. We haven't decided how to level NPCs yet, but that's where you'll go and find them. They'll be interacting with each other. They'll be eating at the mess hall, basically living in the base. This is also where you'll go to accept your missions from the pilot. This is where you will go to purchase and sell equipment to the quartermaster, as well as cycle through your inventory and assign yourself the stuff that you need for your mission. Because currently, when you get into a mission, there will be no inventory. You only have what you're carrying, just like the last game. So there's no like mid-arena open inventory and swap to something else. Like if you can't carry it, you can't bring it. But that's why enemies, of course, will drop weapons, and you can use anything that anybody brings into a stage. Of course, you can pick up and use it because this is madness. Haha, surprise! Where'd those guys come from? Who knows? Okay, so from there, in the headquarters, we need it to feel like not just like a stage in the game, but a bunch of unique things happening to fill it full of character. Right now, that's eventually. Right now, we just need the arena headquarters to give the impression of a safe zone and allow you to purchase things, sell things, train your guy, like level up, and that is to say purchase skills, and take missions. That's it. That's all the headquarters needs to do for the alpha. It just needs you to be able to explore the game system. So from there, and of course, Sean, these guys are a little more difficult than you would fight as a beginning level guy. But you know, we're getting there. So next up, I mentioned inventory. From the inventory, we're currently missing the ability to unequip weapons that you have in your hand, as well as equip a weapon to your offhand. This is very easy to add. We're just trying to not have to do not have to do the same thing twice. So we want to make sure we just have a good interface planned, and then make the transition and just do it, which is not hard, because the inventory is basically ready to go. It's right there. It works. We also have a good collection of armor and equipment. We have a good collection of weapons. And we'll work out what armor means later. Right now, everything is just an outfit. It doesn't help you. But we are going to work on that. We just need to balance it a bit, which is where you guys come in when the alpha comes out. Weapons, yeah, we're pretty much covered. We need shotguns. But besides that, all the major categories are now covered. Pistols, SMGs, and rifles are all in the game. And I have to tell you, they're looking beautiful. Matt, like, outdid himself. And Devin with the sound effects, too. Like, everything feels visceral and lovely. I'm going to unmute the sound for a second so I can hear it. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
awesome.
this is definitely not a level for new players whatsoever.
Yeah, you're a little bit overwhelmed. Yeah, right now this is just, I just needed a lot of the guns to come out, and I needed you to be able to, like, kind of play with it. Also, you'll notice that target thing is back in. The target reticle, which you'll have to dodge, because that's an automatic hit if the bullet reaches you.
Huh.
No tack bar, just like the previous game. I always thought that was a really cool feature. So we
That guy
kept that.
cheated. An enemy threw a weapon into me and killed me.
Oh, really?
That was
Even when I was
amazing.
invincible.
Oh, awesome.
And we've got the wizard grunt back in action. I'm gonna
Yeah,
blame
he's-
him for that.
Wizard Grunt's return.
Way to go, Sean. You broke the game again. Now you better fix it.
You're welcome.
Thanks for nothing. Okay, so we have weapons. So also purchasing and selling, that's very easy. That's just another inventory. Same as the one that you access to see what you are holding. Except instead you see what the quartermaster is holding and you can purchase stuff from him and sell things back to him. Also, weapon components are in the game. You can have add-ons. They are not enabled here because we've just finalized the system. But silencers, suppressors, compressors, barrel extensions, different stocks, like the butt stock for the back of a gun, different magazine types, like all this stuff is now in the game. When Sean ever equips an AN-15 or an AK-47, or I guess it's 74 in this game, that's actually a weapon made of multiple parts, and it's building components from its core pieces and trying to produce a full weapon for you. It's not actually just a weapon model that you stick stuff onto. It's like a piece of a body of a gun that is missing the integral barrel part and stock parts and all that stuff that the game will then generate to fill in the very minimum that it needs in order to run correctly. So basically weapon modding is in the game, although you can't affect it. Weapons are auto-modding themselves right now. So that's in the game already. Next up is skills. So skills, I only need about a week and a half maybe to put all the skills in the game. Oh, did you see that guy fall from the door in the distance? I just noticed that. Yeah, that's a pretty big bug. I gotta see what's going on with guys falling through doors. I changed the physics recently to help it run faster, but I think it's not like, I don't think it's running that well now. Dudes fall through doors. So I'm gonna have to figure. Basically, a bunch of new things are causing guys to fall through the floor, and I'm trying to figure out why. But you know, I'll be playing with that. So let's see what else. So skills. Skills are the main way we're gonna test how the game is balanced and whether or not things are useless, if the pacing is good as far as building a guy. But we need skills in the game to give that impression that you have a guy that you made, he is yours, and the things that he has, the abilities that he controls and has at his disposal are because you built them for him and you earned it. And that's very important because that is the whole premise of Arena, is to earn skills to then take into combat and use them to whip the ass of whoever we send at you. That's the whole point. So even if we keep the waves non-complicated when you fight them, we still want you to be able to control and have some control over how powerful you make your guy as you go. So the game is always going to be buggy. That's what an alpha is. But yeah, besides that, I need to. There's already a system to translate the experience you earn from a stage into one of the 4 main categories, which is of course unarmed, ranged, melee, and acrobatics. Oh, you're already in boss mode now. / Yeah. So that translation is already in. We just need an interface for you to purchase the skills, and it's going to take me the next week and a half to basically put the skills together. Most of the first tier are in. The rest is going to be pretty easy as well, because they're extensions of things you can already do. So I'm going to need some new animations from Matt, like focus attacks, where you charge your attack by holding attack. Your guy will like charge, and then it'll be like a block-breaking, crazy super swipe type thing. Special attacks, where you like Sparta kick people, and also pistol whipping needs to be in the game to make it so that when somebody comes up right on you when you're using using your ranged weapon, that you have to actually have an ability to defend yourself, even if you don't have a melee weapon equipped. So pistol whipping or shoving people back, that kind of thing. So, besides that, I think that pretty much covers what we think an alpha should be, as far as what we still have left to do. And that's it. And then we can release this to people. So that is to say that if we look at it as though, let's say in a perfect world, we could have an alpha as soon as 2 weeks from right now. All I got to do is get the skills basically working, and get the interfaces basically allowing you to go in and purchase those skills, purchase items and weapons, and equip the things that you got, as well as random loot drops and that kind of thing for you as well, just to make it interesting, just for testing. So how are you? Did you spawn those guys yourself, or did they just do this?
The first map didn't end like the wave properly, I think, and now it's like started the wave inside when I quit.
All right,
So
let me
it's
see.
fun though.
If you if you fail one of your maps in arena, they'll attack your headquarters. Bam! Gameplay element.
Yeah, I meant for this to happen. I'm not writing down in my notebook to fix this. I'm not doing that right now.
Hang on a minute, where the hell's the pilot gone?
No, this is all part of the plan. And speaking of the plan, once the alpha is out, what are your plans to allow people to submit bug reports, help you flesh out the game, test it? Is it going to be all through the forums? Are you going to have another system? How do you plan on having that interactivity with the community?
That's a very good question. We need to set that up. I don't have any idea right now. I have some theories, but as far as submitting bug reports, I don't know if we're going to automate it in the project itself, like in the file that people will have to play with. But we will, of course, provide a method when we release it. So that'll happen at that time. That is a good question, Meth, because we do need to cover that. But when it comes out, we'll make sure it's very accessible to people.
Okay, now, how is this going to be built upon? With the alpha, it's like you said before, it's just going to be a starting point for the rest of the game. But are you going to continuously update it with up-to-date information and new builds constantly, or will you try to get more content in packs and kind of release it either once a month or once in a while to give us a lot of content all at once? How do you think that's going to be handled?
I would say I wouldn't expect updates more often than about 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Just so we have 2 weeks to work on content and another week to test it. Just like on our end to make sure it's stable enough that it's not going to ruin people's games. But this is an alpha. You will lose your players a lot of the time, but we will also probably like give you the option, if you wish, to to multiply the experience that you get, so you can like fly through the skill trees if you need to. Just enough to be able to test it, because that's what this is.
There we go.
It's all about testing out your dudes. So, as far as that goes, yeah, I don't think we want to wait longer than a month per update. But honestly, it's up to the features that we can release. We have a good number of stages for testing right now. Yeah, the continue seems to work pretty well. I'm happy with the save load system. I only had to make a few tweaks to get it to work again. This is the first time we've actually seen it in play, isn't it?
This level? Yeah. I think
no,
so.
to save and load your character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't had that before. So yeah, other than like these small little technical difficulties, it's pretty solid, to be honest, in comparison to the other.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's feeling. It's yeah. Like I feel very confident that although it's got its issues right now, those are just bugs, and the game's going to have bugs, and we are going to fix them. I don't see any reason at this point, except for a couple things like dudes falling through doors still, and that's definitely a physics problem. I just need to sort it. Besides that, oh yeah, and sometimes when you throw a weapon and someone tack dodges it, right now your skills are on, so you won't see it. But if you don't have the proper set of skills, if someone tack dodges from a thrown weapon, sometimes they'll fly through the floor. I cannot figure out why it is. I feel I fixed it. You can see the graphics errors with the papers that are too close to another surface flickering. Little things like that are fine, but stuff like guys falling through the floor, that is something obviously that I need to explore. And those are just a couple very small bugs. There will be more, but I want to get those squared away, and then we have an alpha. So how are we going to distribute it? I think more importantly, I want people to remember the people who are going to receive this alpha. This is not an open alpha to everybody. I need to make sure that that's completely clear. You can get access to it, but that requires PayPal donation. I wish that we had a situation where someone could just pre-order one copy of the game on PayPal, and that they would then be able to get access to the alpha. Unfortunately, we can't do that because of a deal that we've made with our Kickstarter backers for those people who were there for us right at the beginning. right when we needed help, when we needed to guarantee this game would be made. Our Kickstarter backers jumped in, and over 1,200 people came in and helped to make this game a reality. So, I mean, yeah, Matt and I are making this thing, but what does that mean if we can't even afford to get started? So, because of that, all Kickstarter backers have alpha access, as well as beta access, early access. They get the whole thing, everything, just for the $15 that they may have donated. PayPal, we can't just give folks who donate on PayPal the same access just because it was a promise made to the Kickstarter backers. If we give everybody the same access as the Kickstarter backers for the same amount of money, we're basically saying, hey guys, thanks for backing us. You might as well have just waited to do it. So we're trying to honor that promise. But nevertheless, PayPal does get you access to things like the alpha and the beta. We'll make sure you just go to projectnexus2.com. You can check out and see on our on that one section of the site where you need to go to be able to back us on PayPal in order to get your copy. So that having been said, I guess releasing it, how we're going to get this out to people, that's also important. So we're discussing things so we can save bandwidth. We're discussing a way to get this out to people. I freaking love that, like, throw the gun at their face and it just sticks thing. I love it. Yeah, because Hank did it in one episode of one of the cartoons, so obviously now, wave complete. Nice.
Yeah.
So now obviously everybody can do it. But I'm talking with Devin, who's found a very cool service that just because we're an indie project, we may even be able to get it for free in exchange for their publicity. I think that's how that works. And theoretically, we'll be able to put an email out to all Kickstarter backers, asking for their email or wherever we can send it to. And we'll basically provide a link. PayPal, the same thing. I may have to do it manually, which is fine by me because, for everybody who donated $30, $60, or whatever it is, I'm willing to expend a couple seconds it takes to send a personal message with a link. Mm-hmm. So we obviously have to work that out. The alpha could be finished in 2 weeks and ready to ship, but we need to make sure we have that service nailed down so that after all this work, we don't just accidentally just make a link that somebody can just share with someone else and then it leaks and now everybody can play it. Because then it's just like, why did the Kickstarter backers even bother? So we have to make sure that it stays as exclusive as possible. Another solution, of course, is to do it directly through Steam, which we're considering, but we have to go through a couple of, not loopholes, we don't have to jump through hoops on this, but we have to go through a couple of things to finish our green light system so that we can even put something on Steam. So that's just something we're working on. But yeah, so for everybody who's ever wondered, you guys said that the alpha was going to be ready in January of 2004, earlier this year. I was, for the longest time, Matt and I kind of joked, our canned answer was going to be, no, sorry, that was a typo. We meant 2016. I did mean 2015, by the way, but yeah, it's like, oh no, we meant to say 2016. Whoops, it's just a typo. But no, we did mean 2015 when we put it on the Kickstarter. Back when we did the Kickstarter in 2014. I cannot believe we're passing through time this quickly. So we did think that would be the case. We thought we'd be done. We thought we'd be ready. And what we thought we'd be doing is giving you guys the proof of concept while we made a real game out of the proof of concept. That is to say, let you guys run around in the Kickstarter world that we created while we make the real world that you're really going to run around in. We realized that was a bad idea, so we didn't do that. And the more we started to develop the Kickstarter demo into an alpha gameplay demo, the more we realized how much was missing from it. And so that just kind of dragged out to the point that we've designed a lot of infrastructure, from mini-maps to inventories, many different inventories that we've cycled through to get it right. And, we may still switch it, we'll see. Stuff like that, like event systems in the game. Every little tiny thing that we thought the game could use. So we now feel that it's feeling more complete, and it's feeling like a real game. And that's why it wasn't out in 2015. That's why we've been working diligently on this, like crazy hours, to trying to get this done. So yeah, and when will it be out? We're thinking, like I said, in the next 2 weeks, we'll have a product that we can introduce to you guys, and it may take us a week, again, like a week to get it out there, so that it's actually accessible to you, which is of course is a big deal. So yeah, so that's where we are with that. If you guys want to do any Q&A, or if there's anything relative to the alpha, I'm actually this time happy to answer any question related to the alpha. except for when's it coming out? Because God damn it, I just told you.
Well, I do have a few questions to get people kind of prepared. As far as actually using and downloading the alpha, is there going to be an installer? Are people like us with the testing out the dev builds going to be just opening a file, hitting the executable? How are you guys formatting that, and how large are these files going to be, just as an expectation of the more technical side of what they're going to be doing?
Yeah, I think I want to try to keep it less than 100 megabytes. Right now, we're well below that, I believe. I think we're at like 50 for the final. Let me check. Let me check what the compressed file is. I have it open right here. Oh no, it's significantly more than that. But we can. But that's all music, and we're going to cut a lot of that out.
And that's even then. That's not a very large file. For
No, not at all. Yeah, so they know it's. I'm looking at like a 220 megabytes. No, excuse me. Yeah, it is megabytes. That's not much at all. Yeah, 220 give or take. But a lot of that is the music that is not really active in here. We will be enabling it, of course, and probably all the tracks. We'll probably make all those available. Each stage will get its own. That kind of deal. So, but depending on what we actually include, yeah, having it reach 300, I think is ridiculous. I don't think it's ridiculous. I don't think we're gonna hit that. So it'll be nice and small, which is better for us because bandwidth. Yeah, that's as far as installers go. I don't know. It's my first time doing this. I probably would just release a zipped like compressed file of some kind.
I mean, and even if it was an installer, it wouldn't really be. It'd be something as simple as telling it to put the files like in program files and then make an executable on the desktop for you.
Yeah, right. If I could actually have a proper installer, I think that'd be awesome. So I'll look into it. I know there is a way to do it. This exists. I have no experience with it. I haven't looked it up because I've been focusing on the game and not on what to do with the game when it's done.
Yeah.
But that will be, of course, that's what we would need that week for, is after the build is good, after it's solid and we have everything in that we need people to be playing. Like fixing that camera angle there, stuff like that. There's little tiny things that we need to go in and do. Like so that you don't have like the camera stuck with the building between you and your guy, so you can always see around stuff. Yeah, after that, it'll take us about a week to make it solid, to make sure it's distributable.
All right. So we do have some questions from the community. If you guys actually want to ask more questions, just use the hashtag PN2 question. We're going to be trying to answer as many as we can, and then maybe just showing off different things as far as the arena mode goes. Are you ready, Michael Swain?
Okay, yes, give me questions.
All right, let's feed the monster.
Questions.
Yazard101 asks, I had a crisis and missed the answer to question PS2. Oh crap, never mind. Okay, Sasuk123 asks, will we be able to donate more money to get AAHW mode and other modes?
I think eventually AAHW mode will be like DLC. Things like multiplayer, or if we release the game without Zed Survival but then have to work on it after. Multiplayer and Zed Survival will, no matter what, be free DLC. Those will be upgrades to the game that anybody gets. If we release the game without those, it's going to be because people are tired of waiting. Story and arena mode are finished and feeling beautiful, and feel good about themselves as well. And we would release that. As far as other game modes like AHW mode, maybe little tiny things like paintball mode, if we do that kind of stuff, or more complicated multiplayer maps of some kind, like open world type stuff, that kind of thing would be DLC. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about considering it backing per se. That would be a flat out purchase when the game is ready to go. Bear in mind, if we had reached the target money on the Kickstarter to get AHW mode out along with the main project, that would have been free as well, because we would have already made the money necessary to build it. But because of that, because we didn't, we need to get to a point where we can sell the game to make the money to develop that, and then of course we'll make our money back by sales for the DLC. So yeah, don't worry about AHW mode. Nobody's being cut out of that. That will be a thing, just not quite yet. I would expect it towards the end of 2016 because we're going into this next year with the expectation that, I mean, by the end of this year, if we're not in beta, I'm going to be very, very sad. If we're not in at least the the beta for the arena mode and releasing some kind of alpha for a couple stages for story, I will be very sad. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. So end of 2016 sounds like a good justifiable time for like multiplayer to come out. Maybe AHW. We'll see.
Okay.
But anyway, that's kind of where we are with that.
Okay, Avocado Ramabot asks, can you fool enemies by loading a gun with an empty mag and leaving it on the floor?
Right now, they know, just like you do, if a weapon has no ammo. So, and also if there is no ammo in the mag, but they have the kind of ammo for that weapon that's necessary to fire it, they'll consider it a valid weapon. So currently, that's how that works.
Okay.
Yeah, they can't be tricked any more than you can right now.
All right.
In Zed Survival, though, I think when you won't see the gun the way that you see it now, you'll see it highlighted, but you won't know what's in it till you pick it up, because that game is supposed to be like the real life version of this engine. For Arena, we're trying to expedite as much as we can and make it more of a game and less of a simulation. Zed, other way around. So in that code, or excuse me, in that game, yes, in that game mode, sorry, in the code for that game, they'll read guns differently. They will have to follow the same sort of rules that you do. They won't just know automatically. So in Zed Survival, yeah, but Arena, no, not so much.
Okay. Avocado Ramabot also asks, can you potentially in the future use things to upgrade the helicopter to provide support? I guess this is during the arena matches.
Is that like the which one is it that does it? Is it COD or which game? Which one does that? Where you,
COD.
is
You
it?
mean Call of Duty?
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah.
Is it Call of Duty? Yes, I do mean Call of Duty.
Who the hell says COD? No one says COD.
It's one fewer syllable, so I say COD a lot.
Or you could say COD. Everyone likes the fish.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So when you're playing COD, is COD the one where you
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
call in the
You
fish?
get like a
fish
certain
you upgrade. You
streak
call in
or-
fish support. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Oh, I
like,
thought that was funny.
it would be I don't know. It would be a very particular map you would need that in. Like for example, if in this map, for example, what would like the helicopter come up to the window like in the Matrix and shoot a turret gun, like through the window, or would it only be working in like the large outdoor maps? You know?
Well, there will be. I know this isn't the question. There will be proper turrets in the different difficulties of arena mode. Like basically terrain hazards and stuff. Like you can shoot them, they'll go away for a minute and come back. That kind of thing. It's just something to kind of like keep you on your toes. Turrets aren't very good or anything. Just it's just another hazard. But as far as like a helicopter strike, probably not. It seems. Yeah, it seems like a bit much, but I'm not going to say no. We may have like a tactical skill tree line that allows you to do stuff like that, but yeah, for the most part, we don't have any immediate plans on that. I'm not against it. Just we don't really have any plans on that.
Okay. So next question.
Oh, here I posted on Twitter the poll. I think we're pretty much good on the question, so I'm going to go ahead and paste it.
Okay.
Are we doing the poll now?
I just want to make sure it's available. Just remember, guys, twitter.com/Project Nexus 2. There's the link. We have the link to the poll on there. Why then didn't you just post the link to the poll into the chat? People are asking Swain, I'm sure, in their heads. It's because we want you to get used to the idea that we have the Twitter. That's why. And I need to get used to doing that as well. So it's more for me than for you, but also it's for you. So
Self-promotion, yay!
yeah, exactly. So, but anyway, it's up on there. Plus, I only want to have to post it once. Now it's up there. Anybody following the Twitter can go see it. So,
Oh God, what gun is this?
I'm just kind of curious what you guys feel.
Oh no, drop the
Take
gun.
the survey at your convenience, but we really do hope that you participate in it.
Christ.
Okay, so meth. What? Oh, is that the bison? I think that's the bison that you're firing.
That was insane.
Yes.
How
So
much ammo
Zoldats are
does that
pretty tough,
hold?
right? Like they're hard to kill.
What?
The Zoldats, the soldiers.
Oh yeah, they're like flipping all over the place.
Yeah, because they're tack dodge. When they dodge, they like fly off to the side. So wherever you're aiming, it just you got to do it all over again. Plus, they never approach you directly, just like agents.
Also, speaking of the weapons, the balancing that's going into that, do you feel like you have a handle on how each weapon feels, or is there going to be a lot of work either before or directly after the alpha in adjusting those so they seem more different? Because I'm noticing things like the sweet spot area is about the same distance for almost every weapon.
Yeah, right
Is that
now-
going to change more?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Right now we have everything generalized since we just finished the new weapon system, and it's perfect. I think it's flawless. I cannot think of a faster way to do it. from a computational standpoint, I can't think of a more efficient way for us as developers to create new weapons and add them. We can do it in record time now. Once Matt has finished the models, we can throw it into Unity, and it's like practically working almost right away. And there we go, falling through the floor again. There's a change I need to make to make sure that never happens again. I'm going to I'm going to try something that I think will cause you to stop doing that. Change collider. On character.
Bug fixing during the game.
Yeah.
It's like behind the scenes.
Yeah. This is behind the scenes, and every time something breaks in the game like this, you guys see it. That's just one more thing I need to fix. Because if you fall through the floor, like most games, like you know how in games like Halo, if you fall off a cliff after about like 3 seconds of perpetual free fall, you just die, right? Your guy like goes and starts to like thrash his legs and arms and stuff. So you're already dead before you hit the ground, as far as the game goes. Adding stuff into games like this, we basically have the same thing in this game. As a safety, knowing that if you fall through the floor or find a hole in the map or something and look, I broke the game, well, you know, your guy's dead, so enjoy it, you son of a bitch. It's basically a safety net to kill your character we have in the game in case you fall through a stage. So the game will never break forever just because that happened, but we don't want to make it where you were just standing somewhere and someone punched you and you fall through the floor. That's basically Unity physics dealing with the way we have the terrain, the map set up. So I just need to make a quick tweak to it. I think it'll be fine. I've improved the ragdoll yet again. I think it looks even better than it did before. I like it. Boom. Anywho, what else do we have question-wise?
Okay, I'm going to continue down. Blocker asks, how exactly does the weapon customization work? I think he's asking for how will it work in-game as far as those item components, how we can manipulate them.
I'm thinking... Basically, there's two options. We're gonna have something that's a workbench first off, like no matter what. You can't just like access a weapon and just start removing stuff. I do like the idea of being able to put a silencer onto a pistol in the middle of the game. We might have a button for that, like press, I don't know, press the U key, and like you'll apply any silencer that you've equipped. But that's the thing, is you kind of like, if we had something like that, like take the silencer off or on for a pistol, in game terms, you already have to assign that silencer to the pistol. So whether or not you even take it off, whether or not we even have that as a thing, you need to go to a workbench, you need to get your pistol, and you need to get your add-ons that you've purchased, and you need to apply that to them, if it can use that add-on. In Zed Survival, it'll be a little bit more forgiving about like hack jobbing things together with duct tape and glue and stuff. But in Arena, certain weapons can only use certain types of things. So, oh, look at that. More guns, plux.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
You're a little outlaw, aren't you? So you would go to the workbench, and you would just have access to all the add-ons that you currently own, all the weapons you currently own, and you can click on a weapon and just sort of like add the pieces to it that you need. I'm sure that it would have like a ghosted image of where it would go, kind of like in the first game when you equip a weapon. It like when you before you purchase it, you see like a bright blue ghosted image in your hands. And probably do something like that with this one. So you would see where it would go, then you would purchase, or maybe not purchase, but like spend the the moment to equip that particular piece to that gun, then bam, it's on there. I don't know if we're gonna do like it costs money to add it, or if like once you want to equip it, it's gone forever. We don't want to be that like nasty about it like Payday. I think that transferring add-ons between weapons would be pretty easy. But yeah, you basically just have a workbench. You'd see your weapon like in the screen in front of you, and you would just cycle through your add-ons and just plug them in. That's basically it.
Also, Swain,
yes.
People are having an issue with the questionnaire. It seems like you capped the amount of responses it receives.
I don't think so, but I'll...
I just checked it out, and I got the exact same response.
I have a thing for not accepting responses, but let me see.
Yeah, I put it in chat, what everyone's getting.
Okay, let me see. Yeah, that's very strange. I'll look into this.
Okay.
It is a mistake. All right, let me see. Not accepting. Form's been turned off, and all right, try now. I think we should be good.
Okay.
I love throwing weapons. It's so therapeutic, is one word.
Throwing or shooting?
Throwing.
How do you feel the enemies are handling as far as being different or being challenging? Do you feel like you have control or strategy tactics around them?
Young Sean.
Well,
Yeah. How do you feel? How do you feel?
Come on, share with me, man. Share with me.
I mean, if I had Corpus, then this game is very difficult right now. But in saying that,
yes,
though,
right now it is. Yes.
because it hasn't been fully balanced out for the
Yeah, right,
individual
exactly.
levels. The AI of the actual enemies, of how they both all work together to, what's the word?
Kill you.
Well, no, when they're in a group, they strategically come at you in different ways, like the mercenaries, for example. I don't know. It's very strange.
Yeah.
Okay.
They,
It does feel a lot more complete playing this than the last one, especially with the all the saving characters and loading them in, for example.
Is that a shader bug currently with the yellow?
It's not a bug. It's more of it's a personal indicator. When a piece of cover is not near a node, which are invisible to you, but if it's not near a node, usually that just means when Matt placed it, it's too far into the ground, so I need to like drag it out or something.
Okay.
But that means that it can't find a node nearby, which is another way of saying enemies won't be able to get to it. So, if that's the case, that's fine. I just had that in there for developer purposes.
Yeah.
But that's a good question.
Okay, going on to the next question.
Sure.
In Zed Survival, will we be able to pick our character's appearance and personality? I think this is in regards to being that the starting character won't necessarily be customizable. Also, is it going to be like State of Decay, where we just keep getting random people to play?
Hey, I'm sorry about that, Matt. I was just responding to Matt. I missed the very beginning of that.
Okay, insert Zed Survival, we'll be able to pick our character's appearance and personality.
Yes.
Or is it going to be something like State of Decay, where we're just getting random survivors that we can take control of?
I think I think I would like it to be like Zomboid. We're not settled yet, but I like the idea of having some customization for your starting people.
Mhm.
But anybody else who happens to jump in at any other point, you run into a survivor, you befriend them, they join your group. That person would of course be random. But like your starting crew, I could see potentially customizing them. I think that'd be fine.
Now, with the characters you collect, can you play them? And can your starting character die?
Yeah, your starting characters, I believe, can die, and you don't like lose the game just because they did. I believe the way we'd want to go is like you just keep going until your crew is just gone or abandoned abandon the cause. I see the core characters as being more immune to morale stuff. That is to say, I don't think that your core characters would say, "That's it, I'm done with this group," and leave, and then you just lose access to them. But yeah, who knows? Maybe if they all die, maybe you do lose. Maybe that's a lose condition. I don't know. Honestly, that's just something we're going to have to balance. We've thought about it a good deal, but we haven't settled on anything yet. That's a really good question, though, and that's obviously something I really like to think about. Is how we'll end up approaching that, and to make it fun.
Okay. Going on to the next question.
Yes.
Magnus Corvus asks, have you or will you release an album of the music?
Of course, it's one of the Kickstarter backer rewards, and after we get that to everybody, we'll probably end up selling one as well, and just to make money for the musicians too, and so Cheshire and Devin will each make their cash off that.
Nice.
But we will.
So support the devs, guys, when that comes out eventually.
Yes, please.
Max Shockley asks, when will Zed Survival possibly come out?
When will Zed Survival possibly come out?
Yes.
I don't know. Depends on how long it takes to finish story mode, honestly. But at that point, we won't have any engine stuff that we need to build anymore. It will just be stage design with a couple of like smaller features, like more things can kill you, like not having proper nutrition, or your stats balancing will be different. The way skill trees will work is going to be a little bit different because it is combat based, but you're not playing a combat god like arena or story mode. You're playing a normal dude who just got sucked into a situation beyond his control. So your character will be pretty crappy, and probably pretty crappy for a very long time, because you won't get experience points by like killing zombies. You'll probably get them by doing story plot points or something. Like an event will take place, and if you do it, you'll get a skill point in something. But skills will not just be combat based. There'll be all kinds of survival related stuff that you would get. That kind of stuff we have to develop, and we're not sure how long it's going to take. But it shouldn't take more than a couple months to do Zed Survival. It's really just going to be an extension of an engine that will already have been built by the end of this year, period. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So at least that's kind of what we're looking right now.
Okay. Hello, it's me. One asks, when you reload, does it discard any ammo you might in the magazine at the time? So if you discard a magazine with 3 bullets, does your total ammo go down by a full magazine, or just the amount it takes to fill up the magazine?
Right now, that's a good question. We decided to, because it's kind of ludicrous to have the whole you need to have the magazine in order to load it into the weapon, already done.
Yeah.
So first you have a stockpile of ammo, right? Let's say it's 9mm ammo and you have a gun that uses 9mm. So you have 100 rounds of 9mm, and your pistol holds 5 rounds, let's just say, to make this nice and easy math. You fire off 2 shots, and you reload your weapon. You will then lose the magazine with all the ammo in it, falls to the ground, it's gone forever, and you take 5 rounds from your 100. And that's how this works. We consider doing the standard FPS ammo approach where you just take the ammo that you need and put it in the gun, but honestly, I like that feeling of you have to be careful with your ammo. I think it's very important in this game, and I'd hate to get rid of that just because. Oh, see, look, Sean, I think you threw your weapon and did a lawnmower, didn't you?
Lawnmower?
Yeah, where you throw a weapon and it kills 2 guys, like it flew through one and hit the next.
Oh.
I might be wrong, but I thought that's what I saw.
I don't know. I think too much is going on at once for me to pay attention. Oh god.
That's okay.
At least he's getting invested in the game. Good sign.
Yeah.
Oh god, I think I got loads of them then. Hang on. I'm gonna pick up this. Where's my sword?
Oh, we're gonna.
I think I threw it somewhere. Oh no.
Okay. Oh, you did get loads of them. Wow. That's awesome. Okay, do you want to go to the next question?
Yeah, sure. Let's do the next question.
All right. Magnus Corvus asks, any plans for an alpha demo for people to get a free taste in order to decide if they really want to buy or not?
When the game is done, yeah, we'll have an alpha, or rather, I guess it'd be they called it shareware back in the day, but there will be a demo that people can use when the game is done, yes. But as far as alpha and beta and all that stuff, really, I'm hoping that you'll know by reading reviews, seeing our gameplay demos and that kind of thing. Yeah, as far as because I don't want to do a demo for the alpha. I think that's it's a little bit too much work. It's a little bit ludicrous. I think I would rather just focus on doing a good alpha, and people can judge on its merit if they think it's worthwhile. And then from there, potentially down the line, once the beta's out, then we can start working on demos for people to play. And if they want to continue and pre-order the game, then from there I think that'd be fun.
Now, speaking of previews and videos, what are your policy as far as people who have the alpha making videos or doing streams?
Oh, we say go for it. It's just more publicity for us. I think it's absolutely for the best.
Mm-hmm. So, guys, you do have his permission from the devs. All right.
This isn't
Block
Nintendo.
Lear asks, is the store similar to the one in PN1? I think he's talking about the arena store.
Kind of. I mean, yeah, it's categories of weapons and armor and items and stuff, and you'll cycle through them and pick out the crap that you want, and that kind of thing. I don't know if it's not going to generate stuff the same way. But there will be a lot of you go into the store and there's 3 pairs of the same sunglasses, because who knows, maybe you want to buy it and give it to your buddies. I think the store will cycle out its stuff between matches, so if you want the store to cycle, you need to go in and complete a match, either win or lose. Before or maybe it's based on time, or we'll come up with something like the store has new items. It'll have a new way of cycling through stuff, but it won't be exactly like the same one. The interface will, but how it spawns things. Like in the last one, you could like leave and come back, and it's got new weapons and items. We wouldn't have that. It would be a little bit more fixed, but it'd also be a little bit more fixed.
Yeah, okay. All right, Sean, do you want to ask some of the questions about gameplay? I just have to run off for about a minute.
Okay, let me have a look. What's going on over here? I've been too indulged in the game. Let's have a look. Come on, people, ask some questions. What's going on?
I can just start doing questions out of there. Let's see. Maybe I can just read through here while you do your thing. Or are you doing questions, Sean?
Apparently I'm doing it.
Do. Well, then do it.
Okay, I'm looking for questions. Let's see. Magnus Corvus asked, "Your punches seem very slow right now. Is that because they're basic on his character or discouraged from punching?"
It's the reason is because your character. We don't. Bear in mind, I'm adding skills to the game, but you don't have any way of purchasing skills right now, so your animations are not improving. You'll notice that Zoldats and engineers punch really well and very quickly and multiple times in one hit. So that is something that you will be able to get to. We just don't have it, so you're advancing yet. This is one of those things that it's in the game. I just need to enable it for the next like week and a half. That you purchase the skill, and then bam, you're just using better animations because you've upgraded your unarmed or melee or whatever.
Right. And Magnus Corvus asked, just yet again, I see that the damage is no longer persistent, like it was in Project Nexus 1. Do you plan to add that back in? I know that some people didn't particularly like that, and some people did. So.
Wait, which part? When you said persistent damage?
Like battle scars and bruising.
Oh,
On the character.
Yeah, I'm thinking. Think of scars as tattoos in this game. I'm thinking of when you receive a wound. It's not in right now. Right now, you just get cleaned up. You'll have the option to always remove that stuff if you want to. And as a hint, by the way, I believe in Nexus 1, you can go into the arena, then go back into the store, and do that like 3 times, and I think it clears out your scars in the last game. But in this one, I like the idea of potentially locking scars. Like you can, like maybe the game would potentially tell you, like you go to your like character examiner, you know, the mirror or something, and you can like customize your dude, and you'll see all the scars that you've attained, I think. And on top of that, maybe the scar also tells you what did the damage to you, as well as who delivered it, and whether or not you killed the guy that gave it to you, or something like that.
It's like a story.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. Give your character some background of your own, besides just purchasing a...
And if you take that into multiplayer, you can see other people's scars and see their stories of their...
Right, yeah. Right, yeah. Upload your character's personal background of some kind, yeah.
Oh, Avocado Ramabot asked, can guns be destroyed by melee? I guess that also would mean throwing them as well. Are they degradable?
Not in Arena, no. And Melee, we're not even convinced that we're going to make it degradable in Arena either. We may make it so that weapons can break, but I'm leaning more towards probably not in Arena. So melee weapons may actually become permanent. We'll see. We'll see. So more the other way around in this one.
So just to make the story a little bit more challenging and not as, I wouldn't say easy, but I don't know. But let's see.
I'm back if you guys want more
back.
questions from the list.
Okay, yeah. Sean has been doing a good job.
Good job, Sean.
Sean, good job. Good job.
Let's go back to gameplay. All right. Real Robbie Joe asks, can you scavenge dead bodies for spare bullets and clips mags?
Yeah, from Sean playing right now, you can because we need to keep the game fair. Remember, arena mode is more a game. Zed Survival is more a simulation, an experience.
Mm-hmm.
In Zed Survival, yeah, you'll open up someone's inventory and can take literally anything from them down to their clothes. Think of it as like, you know, any of the Elder Scrolls games. In Arena, there is no searching bodies for anything, because if you have enough time to stop and search a body, then Arena is not playing the way that we need it to, because it needs to be constant, fast combat. Instead, when you walk over someone, you'll get a small handful of whatever ammo type they had. If they had multiple ammo types, you'll just get one. It'll randomly pick one, and you get a small handful of what they had. That's it. And you only
Now-
get one time.
Now, to keep coherence with that, would it still use the same button as if you searched them? So if it's F in survival mode to get down and go into their inventory, in arena mode you would hit F when you're over their body and then it would pick it up? Or is it just completely automatic?
Right now it's automatic. You walk over them, watch Sean kills this guy. Oh, well, that guy didn't have ammo because he was using melee. But yeah, next guy that Sean kills that has a gun, watch and see how this little... It's hard to read because, you know, the size of the text, its distance and all, but... watch how a little number will float over his head, and that indicates the ammo type as well as how much of that ammo you got from the guy.
I have to go into Nexus projects probably.
Okay.
But
All right.
yeah.
So next question. Will you ever make a retail version or console editions of the game? That was Epic Stuff 123.
That's one of those things where I've mentioned this in other podcasts, but I'll say again that getting your game on a console isn't just as easy as I've finished a complete game, I'm going to put it on a console. There's paperwork, there's channels you have to go through, and the deal can be pretty crappy if you don't know somebody on the inside, from what I understand. So we'd have to go through our connections. It'd have to be something like through Newgrounds or through Behemoth, like use our buddies to somehow, like, you know, Madness Project Nexus 2 by Team Madness, but brought to you by Behemoth or something like that. Like, we'd have to go through somebody who knows someone to make that very reasonable. I mean, we don't have to, but it's its own kind of pain trying to get it up there. And that's aside from just making the game compatible in the first place. Unity can absolutely export for these different console types. I think for the next gens as well. Like,
Yep.
Yeah, they just added that
et cetera.
recently.
Yeah. So they're good there. It's not whether or not we have the technical capability. It's just about contracting. It's just about the legality and the loopholes. Not loopholes.
Also,
like hoops we have to jump through.
It would also be a measure of completely redesigning the control of the game itself as well. Because
Yeah.
I keep getting stuck in the door,
Yeah.
and I fell through. But
Alright.
yeah, I mean, shooting with a controller 360 would be more arcadey and all that. But
It would. Yeah. And why is the door sticking there? I
I
wonder.
don't know.
I'm only seeing it just now. And then you fall through the stage. Yeah, that's all related to the one issue. You realize that stuff was never happening before, like 3 weeks ago, right? Like, you were never falling through the stage. Now it's happening all the
Well, I
time.
played it earlier. I played it earlier in the stream and it didn't do it. So I
It's
don't know.
yeah, I have. That's but I mean, like, but now it is consistently happening in this build. So that's definitely the physics objects around your character. I need to go in and just make sure it's cool. A couple of things I've changed. I can change back. It's risky. Every time you want to make the colliders work better with the physics of the world, like, for example, you won't fall through that terrain because that's actually physically Unity terrain, which is it's got its own rules. But the floors in those stages are just thin planes, and those thin planes are sometimes very very difficult for it to decide whether or not you're inside of it. So, anywho, yeah, like, making colliders so that they don't fall through the floor is necessary. But the more of those kinds of colliders we use, the more burden there is on the system.
Speaking of the Unity engine, you've discussed a lot on why you guys have moved to Flash, or from Flash to Unity. How has your experience been with actually working with that engine as far as making it do what you want it to?
I love Unity, but bear in mind this is compared to Flash. Unity's got its issues. Every one of these things will. I feel like there's a bunch of oversight specifically with how it handles animations and blending. There are some flaws in the way that Unity is made, and that's okay, because I feel like those flaws are consistent. Flash, it just decides this week this is going to break for no reason. At least no reason that a sane person can fathom. Now, keep in mind, I haven't used like I haven't used Unreal or Source or anything. I don't know about using those by comparison, so I don't know if Unity is a better or worse choice. I just know that Unity does what I need it to do, and we've had a good experience with it so far. And it seems to run pretty well for what it is. Like, Sean, were you having much lag in that ledge world stage?
Sorry, which stage?
In the ledge world that you were just playing?
No, everything's fine to me, to be
Okay,
honest.
cool. Yeah, just making sure. Because that's up to Unity to decide when it's like something called culling, which is where something is not like. It's kind of like occlusion. It's like the idea that something is or is not drawn to the camera because it's within the frame of the camera. So, like those crates that you just walked away from in the previous shot that we're looking at, those things are no longer being considered by the game as far as rendering goes. But if there's script attached to them, they may still be running. So there's a lot of stuff that Unity takes care of on its own, some stuff that I need to actually manually go in and do and see if a camera can see it and whether or not it needs to be running. There's all kinds of little things that Unity takes care of for us, which is a blessing, and some things that I'm not entirely sure how it does it. So I don't know if it's working the way that we need it to in any situation. I know that sounds deliberately broad, but Unity has its way of handling things and its pipeline, and we don't get to control all of that. So we kind of have to depend on Unity in a lot of cases. And when your character's falling through the floor, that's Unity failing. Oh, your guy's name is Lol. That is just so cute. Anyhow, yeah, I don't know if I've answered that adequately, but...
I think you have.
Yes!
Next to more questions.
Yes, I
Feed
love
the
those
beast.
questions.
Feed the beast. Magnus Corvus asks, is there anything going to be like disarming in the game so that an unarmed play style becomes more practical?
Oh, yeah.
Practical.
Absolutely.
I failed that. So sorry.
That's okay. Yes, disarming will absolutely be in. Unarmed is completely a viable playstyle. Unarmed is basically the thing you use to beat acrobatic types, like people who are fast, have a high tack bar, because you can upgrade your unarmed to be able to surpass tack bar and never even like be influenced by it. So you see an unarmed guy coming at you all ninja style, be worried if you've like boosted up and spent a lot on your tack bar because he's going to go right through it. Simultaneously, when you're using unarmed, it's hard to defend against melee because melee weapons are mostly unblockable by unarmed. Like you can't use your hands to block melee unless you're very high level.
Yeah.
But at which point you can kind of like deflect them a bit. Melee weapon up high. Melee is also just a really good style to have, but you're dependent on your weapon and you can be disarmed. Unarmed, of course, has got the advantage that you're at the worst, at your very worst, you always have nothing in your hands, and if having nothing in your hands makes you strong, then that's a very good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and of course, acrobatics has got its like, you could exclusively work with acrobatics and never have to do anything else. You'll be fast, you'll dodge like crazy, and you'll fling shurikens and throwing knives like a maniac. So it's absolutely your like tumbler, trapeze act type skill. And you never have to focus on anything else. Same thing with unarmed, same with range, same with melee. You can always just do that skill line if you want to. And each one of them has its place. And ranged needs no introduction. It's clearly you're using guns and you're using them well. That does not need to be justified. They're just simply good.
Okay. Blocklear asks, are the lock-on shots that grunts have as dangerous as PN1s?
Yes, but there was a problem with Project Nexus 1, and that was that it was made in Flash. So that meant you didn't have a right mouse button, which meant that we had to make the ubiquitous spacebar be everything. It was your block when you have a melee weapon. It was your dodge when you were unarmed or when you had a ranged weapon in your hands. So that basically meant that dodging was the only way to get around that aimed shot, but we did make it so you could block it if you were high enough in skill with your melee weapon. However, oftentimes they would knock the weapon out of your hand and disarm you when you tried to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, in this game, blocking and dodging are two different things, so no matter what you have equipped, you will always be able to dodge. If you have the very first level of acrobatics, just the core skill, you only need to, it's very cheap, anyone can buy it, but that's how you dodge. Until you have that, you can't even throw yourself on the floor. It's not that you're physically incapable of it, it's just that your character would never think to throw himself on the floor when under fire. Like the idea hasn't entered his head. The first level of acrobatics, just the core skill, just like the first level of unarmed gets you the punches that suck as opposed to are the worst thing you've ever seen. Your character conceptualizes it and now changes the way that he approaches combat. So yeah, unless you haven't bought the first level of acrobatics, and I highly recommend you do, everybody can somehow get around those aimed shots, the targeting shots, which still do normal damage as though you got shot by the gun, but they They are undodgeable. I mean, that is to say, untack dodgeable. They'll go through tack bar. They never miss. They're always dead shots, like right on you. And it's a game mechanic. It's there to kind of make you feel like you're under some kind of pressure. But yeah, they'll work similarly, but they'll be easier to get around than they were in the last game.
Okay. I'm going to summarize a question from Nick Oliver 123, but how do you back up the game from your computers? Do you have any secondary systems to make sure that if anything happens to your hard drives, you have backups of it? Do you use GitHub or anything like that?
Right now, everything is just a local file. We're going to do more, and I would love to do cloud saves or like save over Steam eventually when we have access to that. But for the alpha, it's all just local. I'll be working on that kind of stuff later. For right now, I don't have any particular direction. I won't say plans, because yes, your save file is sacred. I hate it. I hate it in Project Nexus 1 that we were relying on what are called shared objects, which is basically saving to your browser in a way. So it's like cookies, and if cookies are disabled, then your saves are gone. I hated that was the way that we had to do it with that game. Because if you wiped your browser history or restarted your game, or whatever, you updated Chrome and then it just got a wild hair up its ass, you just lose your character. That was just gone, just like that. So I don't want that to be the case anymore. But I would say that eventually, especially for multiplayer, your character would save on server. So who cares? But yeah, as far as story modes and arena mode. Yeah, we'll come up with something, but we are going to try to have some file security. And also, I mean, to be honest, they are just saved files, and you can manually grab your dude and store him if you need to.
All right.
So that's a thing.
Magnus Corvus asks, when dual wielding, are we going to have 2 attack buttons to use the weapons independently, or will they fire at the same time all the time?
Well, we'll assume that we're talking about ranged, because with melee dual wielding, you simply unlock different animations.
Oh, here we go. I can do an example with guns.
Yeah. So it's hard to tell because you can see what Sean's doing, but you don't see his keystrokes. So left mouse button is your fire button for whatever's in your main hand, and right mouse button when you're using your ranged weapon is your aim, so that you can train you brace your gun and you can scope somebody through the sights. Oh, the puppy's barking downstairs. Stop that puppy.
Bring her up.
There we go. Okay, so when wielding 2 ranged weapons, left mouse button fires the weapon in your right hand, and right mouse button fires the weapon in your left hand. I know that seems a little backwards, but left mouse button is always the main attack. And it worked in Skyrim for equipping a magic in each hand, and nobody had a problem with it. So it's fine. There's no real issue. Plus the weapon bars at the bottom that shows what you're equipping and what ammo you have. Each one of those is representative of the button you would press. So the left and right thing is not really difficult to figure out. But yeah, that's how you fire. Now, bear in mind, this basically means you won't be able to train your sights on somebody by looking down the barrel at them, by bracing it with an offhand if you have a weapon in each hand. You can't do it. You've got a pistol in each hand. How are you holding one weapon while bracing the other properly? So basically, you lose the ability to you sacrifice accuracy for more rounds per minute. That's the difference between wielding a single weapon versus dual wield.
Now, will there be any restrictions on how big the weapon you have can be dual wielded? Will rifles not be able to be dual wielded after a certain size?
I believe that's a ranged weapon skill. Let me look at my little skill tree here. My little game skill tree. I didn't have it open, so I gotta crack that open. But I believe that being able to dual wield a weapon that requires 2 hands to hold is a skill that you can unlock. Let's see. Ranged weapons, cover bracing, mobile accuracy, heavy armaments, dual 2-hander. There we go. So dual wielding is a mid-range skill under the trick shot category of ranged weapons. Dual 2-hander is a master level skill within the trick shot branch of ranged weapons. So yeah, you'll be able to upgrade being able to take a rifle in each hand kind of thing. You can do that, but that's something that you have to be able to get. Also, to kind of address the disarming thing, with ranged weapons, once you take the disarming shot skill, anytime you shoot somebody who's reloading, they drop their weapon. So just like that, gone. So if you're fighting somebody in combat and you've gone really high in the trick shot skill branch, and you manage to plug somebody with a shot, if it hits, even if they tack dodge it, it doesn't matter. If they're reloading, you just knock the weapon out of their hands. It's just gone. They can go pick it up again, but it's fun to see. It's fun to see happen. Which Sean doesn't have that enabled right now, but it's pretty cool.
I love having 4 rifles, 2 on your back and then 2 in each hand.
Yeah, it makes you look like a badass. Also, you've noticed that when you have no dudes in the room, and you're not in combat in any way, you brace your weapon up, right? Like you kind of hold it upwards. I know it's kind of like it's trying to do that when you're running sometimes, and I need to make sure that doesn't happen that way. But
here's a question: if you're doing what Sean's doing right now, holding 4 giant weapons on you, will that slow your character down? Are you planning any mechanics like that?
maybe not in arena, but in Zed Survival, yes. Every weapon does have a weight to it. WEIGHT weight. And I'm trying to determine for gameplay if that's smart or not to do that. We might have small, almost unnoticeable penalties, but right now I'm leaning towards if you can carry it, you're fine. Sean, in that last shot, did you actually have 2 rifles on your back?
Yeah.
Were they overlapping each other?
They weren't before. It might have just been with an animation.
Let me just check. I'll put that on my checklist then. Check.
I broke the game. Not really.
No, because I added something into the game to make it so that weapons, if you have the longer the weapon, and also that includes any suppressors and barrel extensions on them, the longer the weapon, the closer it'll drag it down to the ground to balance it out. Because it used to be that the gun, the trigger would be around your waist, and then this barrel would just fly up into the air past you, and it looked kind of silly. So when strapped to your back, I have it. I changed where it positions itself, and that may have changed something. So we'll see.
All right.
So I'm putting that down, but please, I will take another question if there are any.
There are many. Darkslayer Roy asks, will there be bleed effects that do damage over time?
Okay, so Matt and I have talked about that. I think one of the problems that we have with having that in the game is that arena is supposed to be a faster paced thing than that. If you're basically bleeding a dude and waiting for him to die off, I feel like we've come to a situation where we need to figure out why it was taking that long for you to kill the guy in the first place. Mm-hmm. So in things like Zed Survival, yes, absolutely. It'd be very long term. Go to a survivor camp and poison them so that slowly over time they die off. That kind of thing.
And how would that affect gameplay if you were your character was bleeding out?
Well, I hope you know a doctor.
Okay.
Or R1, which counts.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Panini Bell asks, will you release the alpha for Mac and Linux?
Yeah, definitely for Mac.
I think Unity is capable of exporting to Linux.
Yes, it's capable of Linux as well, but that's one of those things where I've never worked with Linux before, so testing it's going to be difficult. At least,
I can test it. I have Linux.
Okay, of course you do. Then in that case, yeah. Well, that's the goal is to do so. Yes.
For the 5 people that have Linux.
Then
so
I'll still do it for them as long as there's not a lot of overhead. If it's as easy as just exporting for Linux as Unity makes it seem, then yes, count on it. But that depends on Unity's capabilities, and we're going to try.
Excuse me.
Okay, the next question I'm going to answer is from Nick Oliver, because he's been asking it for the last 10 minutes, and now he's writing episodes of how he's going to cry himself to sleep. Nick Oliver asks, will weapons customization be present in the alpha, or is it planned for later?
I guess, I didn't quite mention it. I want some level of customization. One thing we might have to do for the initial release of alpha, until we can play with the workbench, is make it so that when you purchase and sometimes pick up weapons, they come pre-modded. So you will, at least in the alpha, see guns with mods on them. But as far as customizing them, we may have to wait for another couple weeks to get that functioning in a flawless way. So we may have to wait, but that will be an alpha thing for sure. Maybe not an initial release, but that will be an alpha thing.
All right. Now that we got through that, just reading through some of them. Okay, Alpha Theory Douche asks, will there be characters from the Madness shorts, such as Piss, Vomit, Garbage, Crap, and Leisurely Ragtime?
I like to think that we'll probably at least get like costume inspiration from those things. So I mean, we already have like top hats, so you know, having like dandy outfits and pipes and stuff, I don't see why not. You know, I'll leisurely ragtime.
Okay, next. Yazard101 asks, how will you determine caliber in crazy weapon combos?
Wait, calibers in combos?
No. In crazy weapon combos. So if you're customizing a weapon, how do you
Oh,
determine the caliber of that weapon?
I see. Okay, when I was hearing combos as though like when you get into a combo, like a certain number of hits in a row kind of thing. Okay, I follow. So also notice how many bodies are on the floor, and Sean's game is running nice and smooth. Just want to take a moment to brag about that for a second. That was the cost of, yeah, sometimes you fall through the floor, but the game runs nicely.
I think more people care about the performance rather than the occasional bug in alpha.
Right, the occasional game-breaking, you just died bug. Okay, so crazy combinations. So the basis that we're working with right now, I believe, I have to double check, but I think it's not the magazine. I believe it's just the core of the weapon. So if you take a 1911 and start customizing it, or hell, let's say that you take an AK-74 chassis, right? You take the frame, you swap a drum mag on it. It doesn't even fit, but whatever. You put one on there. You put an SMG stock and like a Bison barrel like extension on there with a pistol suppressor. It's still at its core the AK-74. That's still the chassis you're using, so it will use that ammo type. But we do want to add in the potential to be able to swap the ammo type. For right now, we don't have that, but that will be something we're going to consider. So even if you're using a pistol magazine, I think it might be actually based on the mag. I'm not entirely sure. So if you can jam, basically right now it's on the chassis. We might swap to the mag. I realize this is something that Matt and I had discussed, but hadn't like finished yet with conceptualizing it. But right now it's attached to the chassis, but I think we may make it based on the drum. I'm not entirely sure. Probably stick with the chassis. So if you jam like a PPK magazine into your AK-74 and somehow customize it so that works, then somehow that AK-74 rifle ammo is fitting into the mag. That's the current working theory. The magazine will then affect, of course, how many rounds you can use with it, but you know, so we have the potential to do like belt-fed pistols and all kinds of stupid stuff down the line. But
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I want to try to find a way to do like belt-fed stuff like that. I think it would be not too hard.
Now, speaking of which, for things like zombie survival, where you would basically have to make handcrafted weapons with parts that you find, are there going to be additional skills involved in that restrict what combinations you can create?
Sorry, Meth, I must be distracted. I was just reading the chat looking for questions as you're asking me one. I'm sorry, I missed the beginning of that again. I'm the worst.
It's terrible. I feel heartbroken.
Yeah, I'm sorry about your heart, man.
Is there anything in, say, zombie survival that requires you to create weapons out of weapon parts that restricts the type of weapons you can create? So at the beginning of the game, you can't necessarily go out, find minigun parts and create it off the bat, or a minigun belt-fed pistol?
Yeah, I would love to get down to the finest stupid detail like Zomboid does, where it's like you don't so much go out into the world and find like we'll stick with the AK-74 example. Like you don't just find the body for it, like the chassis hanging out there. You might actually find random pieces like gunmetal, like scrap metal and screws and that kind of thing. Then you need a metal file and like an arc welder and all these things. And from that you could then create the AK-74 body. And your skill would determine like the texture that it has to show you, is it sleek and cool? Did you do a good job? Or does it look like patchwork, like a homeless guy from the Depression's pants, with patches everywhere? Does it look bad? Or you could find the finished part somewhere. Then you need to have the kind of skill, the craft skill or gunsmithing skill to produce that weapon. And these are all things that you can do, but getting them and learning how to do them is very difficult. It's much more likely you'll find someone who has that skill. And so it's not about like, okay, this guy's really good, I want to teach him farming. So much as, okay, we need to find a farmer. Yes, you can develop these skills in the long term of the game, but it's not immediate. It's not like building skills in Arena where you like soar through the trees. So you'd have to have some skill, you'd have to have the right parts, and then maybe, not just the right parts, but the right work environment too, like a workbench or something. And then just maybe you can then, with a little bit of luck, produce these weapons. But you're better off rating a military installation, to be honest. But you can. That's the point. Is you can. It's hard, but you can.
Okay. I'm gonna ask one of the questions that recently came up. Epic Stuff 123 asks, "What are the current specs needed for the alpha?" And Sean, if you don't mind giving away the specs on your computer that you're currently playing off of.
Right. Yeah. We'll start with that, and then I'll try to like give what our expectation is for the final game. So, Sean, what are you running?
Well, I'm using an Intel i5 with 16 gigs of RAM and a GTX 760.
That's pretty intense.
Yeah.
Yes. That is a good rig.
It's a pretty decent rig, so that's not like
It
the
can run on a
average
$1,200 rig. So, guys,
I'm currently running about for my copy. I don't have any problems with the game except sometimes in the Ledge world, and I think it's only when I'm playing from the Unity like developer interface. But in the finished game, I don't really have any lag. I'm running about 20 megabytes, or excuse me, megabytes, 20 whatever of RAM. Yeah, my RAM's at 20. I gotta check let me just open up my because I just recently got a new computer.
20 gigs.
Let me see.
That's such a strange number.
It's because I think this one came with 12 and my last one had 8.
Huh.
And so or 2 cards of 4 and this one has 2 cards of 6. Let me check my computer's stuff.
Crinkles brings up that his $300 laptop can play it.
Yeah, that's true. His laptop has trouble sometimes running Unity itself when trying to edit. It's the expected amount of lag for something that's not built with a great video card. It's not supposed to.
Yeah, that's going to have an integrated Intel one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll be able, basically, for the people asking, if you bought a computer within the last 3 years, and it has an Intel graphics card, you should be able to run this at least at low settings. Speaking of which, is the alpha going to have graphics settings that we can adjust for the our computer loads?
Actually, let me make a note of that. I completely intend for that to be the case. Yeah, like at least to turn off balloon lighting. Maybe add in body decomposition if your computer really can't run it, that kind of thing.
And an option that even though the game doesn't have it, to just turn off motion blur. It's more of a cathartic thing.
Well, so even though there's no motion blur,
there's no motion blur. Just make sure we can turn it off.
The game will have motion blur for like combos when you're like deeply entrenched in a combo, as like that's kind of representative of your. We say bullet time, but really that's trademarked by the Mad Max guys. Mad Max. Why am I saying Mad Max? Max Payne. I'm very Fury Road obsessed right now. It's playing at the theater here recently.
Oh, it was so good.
Movie night. Yeah, I loved it. Everybody loved it, obviously. But yeah, it's owned by the Max Payne guys, Bullet Time. So we have to call it something else. But the combo slowdown, the movie slowdown, we'll probably add a little motion blur to that to kind of help visually represent that you're in it. But that's So yeah, maybe we will have a disable.
Okay. So as far as the current specs go, most of the people who are able to run a Twitch stream will be able to run this on basic settings.
Yeah, I think so. Here's my specs. Okay, so I have 20 gigs of RAM. Let's see, a 3.70 gigahertz processor. Let's see, Radeon graphics. Yeah, I'm running Radeon for that.
What graphics card? Give us the deets.
Yeah, hold on. It's been so long since I got it. I transferred it to my old computer. Let me see my box. Hold on.
The Kickstarters funded this. Tell us what you bought.
No. This is my personal card from way back before the Kickstarter. To be fair.
Okay.
I guess I gotta go to video settings. It doesn't just tell you on here. Control panel. It is a. Let's see. I believe it's GeForce. Let's find out. Hardware. Yes. View devices and printers, please. Please. Yeah, this is important. While I'm looking this up, we could take more questions if you like.
Alrighty. Let's go back up to... God, we have like 2 pages left.
Yeah.
Will the Kickstarter alpha have working stealth?
Not the alpha, because this arena mode doesn't really have stealth per se. Enemies spawn and they know that you exist and they're going to come for you. So having stealth would be sort of useless.
Okay, and you're probably not going to have stealth mechanics for the arena modes. correct? Or do you think
Um,
you can mix that in?
Right, basically, yeah. We're not gonna have stealth mechanics for the arena mode. That's more of a story thing. So you can get a jump on a stage before they know you're there, before all like hell breaks loose. Stealth in this is not as much a thing.
Swain, did you get my message?
Oh, should I?
DXDag and run.
Can I go check?
Yeah. I'll tell you all your system
Oh.
stuffs.
Oh, beautiful.
Okay. Epic Stuff 123 asks, will there be gore options?
Yeah. Let me make sure to actually add that. I'm keeping an active list right now of graphics options. Okay. There will be gore options, yes.
Okay.
Let's see. 20 thing of RAM. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Processor. AMD Radeon. That's what I'm running. With let me see. 3.7 gigahertz. Yeah. 6700. I feel like I should just crack open my computer and look at it.
It says in the thing.
It should say in display.
In the display tab, it'll say like the chip type and the name.
Yeah, there. All right, that's what I'm. All right, right. Because I'm looking at my. I'm thinking Radeon. That's just my regular processor, which is weird. It came basically. It came with an internal an internal video card that it's trying to tell me is it. Okay, which I basically just don't even use that. All right, so I'm using a GeForce 550 GTX. Let me see. Which basically let me see how much that even costs these days. If you
Oh, it's like $80. If
Yeah.
it's an old graphics card. If
Yeah.
you're running a 550, not a 560,
Correct.
you'll be able to play it.
Holy crap!
What
That
did
was,
you do?
That was a bug of a lifetime right there.
What did you
What?
do?
I clicked through a door
Oh!
frame and it went.
Oh, it went into hell. Did you see that?
No, look,
Whoa.
wait.
Oh,
Yom.
oh yeah.
Oh my god,
What just happened?
that was insane.
So where did that take place? Where were you going when that happened?
In the
He-
lobby thing.
Where
He
you
was
saw-
in
or
he
you
was
just saying?
in the helicopter, or he was on the helicopter pad with the pilot going back to the hub room.
Yeah, this thing. Yeah, is anywhere between like $80 to $90. The video card I'm using. I bought this years ago for something like 200 or whatever the cost was.
It's still a decent.
It's good. It's wonderful. It does everything I need it to. So yeah, I'm using an older video card that's still very good. Once upon a time. Yeah, and your graphics will suffer a little bit if you're on like a laptop, not using like a proper video card. But that's fine. That's you knew this when you were getting a laptop, like a non-gaming laptop. Yeah, if you have a Chromebook, you're ass out of luck. Yeah, good luck because you can't install anything.
Play it in browser.
Yeah, right. We'll make the browser version of the game, sure.
Well, you
I'll get right
can
on that.
export it to browser and just make a complicated.
Yeah, just and see what happens.
account system.
Now downloading game. Now it's a streaming game, streaming 200 megabytes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I wouldn't worry about graphics too much. I run Skyrim at like ultra high settings, and the game runs smoothly in every single area. With this, no wait, well, hold on, no, that's not true. There are some weather effects still slow down my video card on Skyrim on ultra high settings, but this game doesn't slow me down at all. So if you can run ultra high Skyrim, you're gonna have no problem with this. If you can run high on Skyrim, you'll still have no problem with this.
Actually, I just realised that a Chromebook is Linux. So.
It's Linux, but it's not
their
that OS
own
has a problem. It's the
distro.
fact that you can't save anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, running like a Flash
Yeah.
browser game or something, sure, why not?
Yeah. Technically, Chrome might be able to do it, but you would have to have it exported it within a browser.
Yeah, basically.
All right, let's go back to the questions.
Okay.
Magnus Corvus, can we be seeing anything in the vein of a roguelike mode?
Yeah, Zed Survival will be that. Yes,
Okay.
it's completely meant to be roguelike. For those who don't know what that means random procedural generated dungeons. In this case, random procedurally generated terrains and cities, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Random encounters, all kinds of fun stuff. Think FTL.
Yes. Or Binding of Isaac? I love Binding of Isaac.
I'm okay
Anyway.
with Binding of Isaac. I feel like it wasn't balanced properly, but it's a fun experience.
I think
it's
you're
original
missing-
nevertheless.
It isn't balanced if you know the secrets. There's gameplay elements like secret rooms or whatchamacallit. tinted rocks that basically help you get through that game. And if you know about them, it's very fun and balanced.
Right.
But you have to have the knowledge, and I think the idea behind that was that you have to play it a few times to actually know that those things are there.
Yeah.
Right. Also, things
just
like
off the bat, like if you're just a new player and you go to the store, congratulations, you cannot afford anything, and if you can, it's a waste of your money.
Exactly. If you play like 30 times, the store basically gives you like 5 items you can choose and 2 $15 items that are actually like stat upgrades.
Yeah. Hey, look, he saved the pilot this time.
Yay!
Well, no,
pilot didn't die. Cannibal pilot.
No,
has
because
food.
the enemies spawn in the other room when I'm not in there, and then they don't. And then they kill him.
You better protect him.
He's gone. He's dead.
Wait. This won't even be in the alpha because it's a bug. Why are we showing this?
Because it's fun and it's easy to.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm alright with it.
Okay.
I love this.
It respawns me here with another wave again, so it's just endless.
Okay, next question. Dr. Fox, PhD, asks, are revolvers, deagles going to be better as primary weapons than they were in PN1? The big pistols were cool, and I hated having to toss them after a single room of weak enemies.
There will be careers that will help you to improve the usage of like pistols over like rifles and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But I think the big difference in this game is that sweet spots make different weapons useful in different situations. So it's not like, we were talking about how unarmed is great against acrobatics because you can surpass their attack bar, melee is great against unarmed because it's harder to block, etc. Ranged weapons don't really have one type of focus. It's not just, ranged is great against melee, but acrobatics is great against ranged. It's not like that. Ranged is dependent on the weapon you're using, and the weapon you're using dictates your sweet spot. And as you guys know from listening to our podcast and previous podcasts, that the sweet spot will dictate where you are trying to get the most out of your gun. So you would switch to pistols when when a bunch of melee guys are coming at you. It is hard to wipe out a group of guys with a rifle when they're right in your face swinging guns or swinging like bats and stuff at you. It's hard to do. Granted, a grunt is going to be easy to kill no matter what, but your barrel is very far away from you. This guy is right in your face swinging at you. As you shoot, you may not even be able to hit him. You have to get some distance between you. With a pistol, the barrel is shorter. You can take a small step backwards and pop, pop, pop. This guy is dead at a very close range. Because of that, everything has the area that they're most effective at, which is basically their intended use. Long-range rifles with like let's say you have a pistol that's great, but it's crappy to you because you want to use it at a range that's further than the sweet spot would allow. What you would do then is add a scope or a sight to it, and that will actually change where the sweet spot is with that gun. So now that pistol, when aimed, when you hold it up, the sweet spot changes to further away. When you drop it down and you're not sighting it anymore, thus not using the scope, the range, the sweet spot comes closer. So you can make these guns more versatile. You can customize your favorite deagle or pistol to fit the situation that you want. So remember, adding a scope doesn't make a gun better. It makes a gun more useful in a different situation than it would be normally without it. Barrel extension, it may also add some stats, or take some things away, like make it more cumbersome. But for the most part, that's the intended use. So yeah, the fact that guns are effective in different places from one another, that is a big deal. With the right kind of career, you can actually make revolvers automatic. It's not that they're automatic; it's that you can fan the hammer and just basically just unload your revolver on somebody, making it automatic. So you can actually compete with people in the same sort of arena that rifles would be more effective at because they're constantly shooting at an increased rate of fire. So these are all options that you have at your disposal. You may choose to implement to try to make your pistols not just more deadly, but more useful in the scenario that you think they're most appropriate for. So I hope that answers that question. Basically, yes, pistols will still be awesome. They'll be more badass than they were in the last one.
Okay. Magnus Corvus asks, your punches seem very slow right now. Is that because this is a basic character, or are we discouraged from punching? This
one is one that Sean asked, so we're covered. But just so people hear the answer again,
okay.
That's just because character leveling for your animation is not in yet. So once that's finished this week, Sean will be able to play the game, and you guys as well in the alpha. And as you advance through the unarmed tree, you will be able to increase the kind of improve the types of attacks you're doing, basically.
Okay, it's 3:50, so we've got 10 more minutes until we reach our time.
Sure.
We have about a page of questions. Do you want to rapid fire these?
Yeah, let's rapid fire them. We'll do as best we can.
Okay, Epic Stuff 123 asks, so will there be optional camera angles instead of the top-down camera angle? I think he's talking about the outside levels.
There's not, first, so everybody understands, there will never be a first-person mode. The game's just not really set for that. But as far as like toggling your camera, I think that's maybe for outdoors, maybe. Like having a top-down mode option, but just so you have a nice fair like advantage. But we don't have immediate plans on that. We're going to test as much as we can with the cameras that are provided, and then if that just is not sufficient enough to give the experience that is necessary, we will absolutely consider doing alternate camera modes, basically. So something we're looking into, yeah. But we're going to start with this and see where we can go. Sorry, next question.
Magnus Corvus asks, what level of destruction in the environment are we looking at?
I mean, you're not going to be able to destroy everything, but things like cover need to slowly whittle away. Specifically so that you can have weapons like blunt weapons, where you can actually attack cover to try to destroy it, to like minimize what players and enemies can use in a room. Some things will get destroyed, but for the most part, try to just be happy with bullet holes, and as we develop the game, we'll try to add more destruction. For right now, we're focused on gameplay. But blowing up computer monitors and like shooting glass bottles and stuff, of course, yes. We just don't have that stuff in yet because it's not as important as getting the gameplay working. So look forward to it in the future.
Okay. Max Shockley asks, how will ammunition be handled in zombie survival?
Probably pretty similar to this, except a little bit more like, well, yeah, I'm not. I don't know if we're just going to do like individually loading ammo into mags. But it'll be pretty similar to this. I mean, you still have to find it. Ammo is going to be very rare. But, you know, ammo is ammo. It'll be very similar to the arena system.
Okay. Epic Stuff 123 asks, will there be an Instagib mode for this? I think he's talking about kind of like a cheat/fun mode.
Right. I would like to have something like that because we're going to need to develop body evisceration and whatnot. So I'm going to have buttons or like an option where if I shoot somebody, he just explodes or gets cut in half, so I can test it. And I'll probably leave those options in for the alpha for people to play with.
Do you think it can be kind of like when you start in arena mode, there's an option to add mutations, similar to Left 4 Dead, and then you can basically change what you want to test through that?
Yeah, maybe. Like maybe it starts as a developer thing, and down the line it becomes something you can like, congratulations, you beat arena mode, now you have unlocked this or something, and you get to stages. Yeah, maybe. If it doesn't affect the gameplay mechanics, but it's just visual, I think it wouldn't affect the whether or not you get experience and money from it. If it does change it, like low gravity mode and that kind of stuff, infinite ammo, whatever, then you can play the arena, but you wouldn't get any credit for it. Like that kind of thing. Like I think GTA, well, a lot of games have that. Like if you enable cheats, then no longer like can you get achievements and that kind of stuff. It would be the same sort of thing, yeah.
Okay. All right. Avocado Ramabot asks, will grenades be in the game such as flashbangs, Molotovs, grenade launchers, and such?
Yes, they will. All of the above. Next question.
Okay, Evil Stuff 123 asks, parkour?
Yes, parkour to a degree. This is not a parkour game. This is not Dying Light. But if I can give you some examples, because I have the acrobatic skill tree open right in front of me. We have a navigation. I'm doing air quotes. You can't see it, but maybe from my voice you can hear it. A navigation skill tree. Which includes things like dashing, being able to climb up ledges, getting up quickly, as well as a timed kip up, so if you get knocked back and then hit the ground, you can just bounce back up again. Dashing up inclines, tumbling when you fall off a ledge, vaulting, that is to say jumping over like chest-high walls and cover and stuff. Improved climb, which is like kind of like a wall run where you like get up really quickly and flip up on top, so fast scaling. Wall scaling, which is actually like running up a very high wall to get up to very high ledges. Wall jumping, that'll be a fun one, where you go up to a wall and dodge towards it. The guy runs up it and then leaps off of it, and now you're like across the stage or something. Tack dashing, which is to say when you're dashing, your tack bar applies, as well as roll falling. So instead of tumbling when you hit the ground, you actually roll and are like basically in a dodge. Which would also apply to wall jumping. If you leap off a wall and hit the ground, you would then roll if you've purchased both skills. So that's a taste of the parkour that we're dealing with. It's not going to be like Dying Light, but it is going to be, you know, more than just walking around the stage.
Okay. Sausuk123 asks, are we able to buy weapon parts and scavenge for them?
In scavenge, yes. In Zed Survival, buy them, yes. In Arena, yes, absolutely.
Okay. Will there be any buying mechanics in zombie survival mode, or you're still debating that?
Oh yeah, there will. I mean, we have like merchant class type people. Like you can walk around through the wastelands and find somebody walking by and they're like, with their little like pull cart or something, and like do business with them, rob them, whatever it is you need to do. Of course, you'll take a hit to the reputation, but you know how.
So you will be able to do both in zombie survival, but arena is restricted to just buying because you won't be able to take anything from the arena levels when you play them.
Right. We're working at exactly the best mechanic, whether we just give you a flat cash bonus for any weapons you pick up and take with you, or any weapons you take from Arena, you can carry them, but you have to keep them equipped. You can never put them in your inventory, and when you try to, it's like you get a small, like $10 or some small bonus, so you can hold it as long as you want to keep it or something. We're deciding how to like balance it, but you don't get to keep stuff you bring back from Arena, no matter what. You have to purchase a weapon. You now have it. If you lose it, it's gone. But that means we'll also do like weapon insurance from Arena Quartermaster, where you purchase a weapon, you then insure it. So if you ever lose it in the arena, it comes back to you afterwards. So you never have to worry about like, oh no, I dropped my weapon, or oh no, I died, I lost that weapon forever. Not really, not if you insured it. So we have stuff like that going.
One of my favorite questions, Z Matrix NG asks, do Madness characters reproduce asexually? Do they have gametes? Do their sister chromatids partake in crossing over during anaphase 2? Is there any genetic variation that allows an uneven reproductive success, therefore creating natural selection?
Oh, you mean like natural mutation?
Deep.
Unfortunately, I'm not Crinkles. I can't give you the canon on that, so sorry.
Matrix! We
I'm
tried!
I'm just the code monkey, that's all.
Oh, we tried so hard.
But to be fair, story mode, although facetious as a question, story mode will answer some like, where do these Madness guys keep coming from? Like, where do they go when they die? Who's like, what exactly is the Nexus program? All that crap. Don't worry, the story will answer some questions about the canon. But as far as reproduction, yeah, don't worry about that.
Matt says no. So.
Oh dang.
There's your
Okay,
answer.
now we're gonna get angry people. Alright, Freeland Zero asks, how complex are you going to make the human enemy AI? Will high tier end enemies be able to perform squad actions on their own?
Okay, that's a good question. There's basically two different approaches that I have towards building an AI for a unit. The first is the individuality of a unit that you can consider an enemy type, right? A grunt, an agent, an engineer. These characters, when you're fighting them, can't just look like dudes with better weapons that are more accurate and also just have more hit points. They can't be identical. They have to behave differently. That's very important to us. Because everything needs to have a personality. Like, you need to look at a guy and expect how he's going to act. I think it's quintessential to games. So that's an enemy AI. Now, when dealing with like squad mates, though, this is where we're getting into bots. That is to say, where I'm trying to design a character that tries as best as he can to do what he must with the skills that he has in the scenario that he finds himself. So that is to say, a bot, or a squad mate in this case, is not going to walk into a stage and either act like an agent or act like an engineer. He may have behavior traits that regulate when and how he'll do stuff. But to be honest, I want to make squad mates more complicated and emulate real human behavior more so than enemies when you fight them. So when your dude is in combat, he's totally acting differently than like an agent that was given the command to flank you by a superior officer. So yeah, so basically that's going to be the difference there. Expect enemies to act like enemies, and expect squad mates to try to act like a person, at least as best as we can. Once we have pathfinding perfected, the pathfinding is good. We just need to like make the stages have like better boundaries. We just need to go through and see what works and what doesn't. Just tweak everything to get it working fine. But after that's gone, I think that that's going to be the major difference between the two different types. And hopefully, when you play the game, you'll be able to see the difference.
All right, we have 1 minute, and actually, we're out of time, but we have 4 questions left. Do you want to answer them?
Yeah, sure.
All right, My
seconds.
Madness in a Nutshell asks, will there be, like, Team Fortress 2 items? I heard rumors about it.
We don't have any kind of deal with Valve, but when the game releases on Steam, we're hoping we can talk to them about that. So we'd be down for it. That's the most I can say, because that's all we know.
Okay. Areep 199 asks, will there be a grapple system? Grab a guy and use him as cover, toss him into his buddies.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Uh, there is your dog. Will there be able gun skins like Gold Gun in Project Nexus 1?
Yes, of course, there will be. It'll be like special weapon drops, things you can buy. Eventually, we'll have ways of being able to like skin your guns at the workbench with different materials and stuff. If you want a wood gun, fine, you got a wood gun.
Tie-dye.
Yeah, a tie-dye like hippie.
Yeah.
Of course, it's all white and gray, but it looks like
Yeah.
tie-dye.
I finally have my elastic wooden gun.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, right, exactly. And eventually, in like the final, we'll have like Steam Workshop stuff where you can like import your own skins. But that's later. So what else do we got?
A Feathery Douche asks, can you show us some more character customization like hats, glasses, and shirts? Is there any in this version of the build for the character customization like we saw in previous streams?
Good lord, Sean created a
get
lot
it
of
up.
characters.
Hang on.
Your system can handle it, so there's that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you can have infinite characters in this already, and notice that's an improvement over the last arena. Infinite careers if you want to.
Yay.
It's as many as you can save. It's just like it should be. Yeah, as far as like, there's
go.
not much we can show off now. We're just kind of out of time. But we'll make sure for the next one to do it. I mean, Sean can like if he wants to just make new characters, sure. This is an older build, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And while he's doing that, what else have we got, Matt? Other questions?
We are done. We are done with the
That's it?
stream. It is over, and I will not answer Nikki Oliver's question, will there be chips?
Like French fries or chips? The real chips?
I'm not sure we want to start this debate. It might get too serious.
Yeah, I don't know. How about we'll either have both or we'll have neither. How about that? Crisps or chips or French fries.
All three or none of the above.
Right. It's funny because there's two things. Well, I've mentioned three things. It's like that old riddle. The three men go fishing. Each man catches a fish. No. I think I've already ruined it. I didn't ruin it. No, I just said it wrong. All right. Two fathers and two sons go fishing. Each man catches a fish, and yet only three fish were caught. No fish was lost. How is this possible? And the answer to the riddle is that it's two fathers and two sons. Basically, one son, his father, and the guy's father. So the grandfather, and his son, and the son's son. So there's only three people because the guy in the middle counts as a father and a son. You get it? See? Two fathers and two sons. Yeah, I know. You just didn't. You weren't thinking.
No! If I was facing Smeagol, I would lose. No.
Exactly. You'd have to. You would be breakfast precious.
All right. Now, regarding the alpha or any announcements do you want to make while we tie this up? Is there anything you want to say?
No,
Mike?
just for anybody who jumped in late. We're looking for alpha potential release in the next 2 weeks. We want to have a build done, and a week after that, just enough time to try to get it so it's distributable, that we can get it to you. That is to say, get it in a good file format. All the bug testing hopefully is done by then. Get it in a good file format, get it to a place where you, Kickstarter backers and PayPal backers who have achieved that rank via your donations, can get an access to it. And then from there, hopefully we'll start to see a bunch of YouTube videos trickle in and people saying, God, this game sucks, I wasted my money. We're looking forward to all the heartache and nightmares of it. But we'll at least have an alpha demo out, finally.
And does that have anything to do with being out a few days before Madness Day at all? Is this planned?
Let's just say it wasn't planned so much as because that's September 27th, right?
22nd. It's actually about 3 weeks away.
Is it? Okay, yeah. That's more like Matt and I have a suicide pact if we don't release it before Madness Day. Let's just say. So we kind of are. It is in our best interest to stick with our mutual self-promise.
You heard it here, folks.
Yeah.
The game will never be made if if alpha isn't out in 3 weeks.
Right, exactly. We're gonna go radio silent, and at least you'll know why. So by Madness Day, at least we'll be able to start like advertising it via Newgrounds if Tom is up for it. That hey guys, look, it's we've actually got an alpha out. Here's where we are.
And speaking of trying to advertise and incorporate people into the alpha, you guys can still pre-order Project Nexus 2 at projectnexus2.com/pre-order. There is a $15 version of the game that does come with just the copy if you just want the pre-order and to support the devs.
Which we appreciate.
However, yep. And there is also a $60 version of the game that comes with 2 copies, but also comes with alpha access. So if you want in on it, you do have to pay much more than the Kickstarter, but you do get access.
And the point, of course, guys, is that by doing so, this option is there for you to help us. Down the line, we'll make the alpha accessible for cheaper, but you're going to get more stuff with this. I believe there's like stickers and stuff that once we're actually producing the backer rewards, we'll be sending that to people. Backer only forum access, which now that we're going to have a gameplay area. Like we're going to have an alpha that you can play. That means we'll have a forum area where we'll give you access to that as well, so you can come in and share your thoughts and that kind of thing. Once I figure out a way to mass produce a password to that.
And again, the $60 pack is just for the two pre-orders, the stickers, the soundtrack, as well as the alpha access. The actual game, when it releases, will be about what, $15 to $20, if that.
Yeah, we're aiming about that. If it ends up being $20, then it's, yeah. If you bought it now, then you've bought it now for that cost anyway. Then you're pretty much covered. But yeah, just remember, you're paying more for the alpha access because you're supporting us, the developers. That's, you know, we need the help. It extends our development time so that we don't have to take side jobs, and then production just goes to a crawl, as often happens with indie games. We refuse to let that be us.
The $30 pack, by the way, gets you beta access. We're not bringing it up necessarily now because beta is going to be a while.
Yeah, beta will. We're hoping for Arena to make beta about January 2016. That's what we're hoping. That's the goal. And so, because we're so set with the alpha right now, with the beta, we might actually have like, you know, a little bit more success with that.
Yeah, not going to be September 2016. I kid.
No, God no.
But it's Michael, thank you so much for being on here. Matt, Crinkles, thank you for being in the chat, answering some of the questions as well. It's been actually a great stream. We've gotten, I think, 80 people were around our top, maybe a little less. But thank you guys so much for coming again. We're going to put this on the YouTube channel, right, Sean? Yes. After this.
This one will go up, yeah.
This one will go up. Will the others? We'll be doing another stream probably toward the end of the month, just before the release of the alpha, or if you want to do another Madness Day one. And I guess that's it for us. Is there anything you want to say goodbye on? So long. Avita-san.
Right. So long, and thanks for all the fish, I guess.
All right. Well,
go play some COD. That's what's referred to as a callback.
Yes, we have to get the helicopter research in. That's what you're going for.
Yeah.
That's what the Kickstarter money is doing.
I'm speaking in code. I am a coder after all.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you guys for coming out, and we'll see you next month.
Yeah, thanks for the questions, guys. I hope it was informative, and I look forward to giving you guys the alpha. I'm very excited about it.
Everyone is.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. I don't want to play the build you gave me, but I really do want to play it.
Yeah,
I'm excited
diddle around with it anyway. I'll give you
a
better one.
Anyway. All right. Well, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.
Yeah.
Bye. So long. End the stream. End the stream now.